Good evening, chat. Hello. And as I said in the description, if you need to cope tonight, then cope. If you need to seethe. If you want to learn about what happened, we'll talk about that. But as I said way back when all this started, even back when the EOs came out, this didn't have a snowball's chance in hell. But surprisingly, it was a lot closer than we thought. Yes, I know. I said it was going to be 7-2. I said it might be 6-3 with Gorsuch doing like a little bit of a dissent, a partial, but we got a lot more than that. We got a lot more than that tonight. But anyways, guys, welcome to the show. I'm Sean, also known as Potentially Criminal. I'm an attorney. I used to in Ohio, but now I live in Florida. And with me is RyanCMullally, the inspiration behind Harvey Specter. Man, keeping it on lock down in New York City. He's a big city lawyer.
Yeah, we do the big city vibe. Shit, thanks for having me on again, Sean. Yeah, look, I think the big news today, obviously, is that Trump lost it before the Supreme Court on the Birthright Citizenship case. I think a lot of us who were really invested in this had looked at the arguments and realized that they were better than we thought. But it was always a long shot. But ultimately, on the constitutional issue, the court came out 5-4 against Trump. It was 6-3 against Trump on the statutory issue. But that's a lot closer than a lot of people thought it was going to be. And this fight's not done. But I'm hearing a lot of doom and gloom today, Sean. A lot of people who want to throw in the towel because they lost one court case. And I don't know. I don't want to tell you, Sean, but like in the life of a lawyer, you learn to be patient. You lose a lot of cases and you win a lot of cases, and you gotta see it through.
Well, and I mean, that's true. Like, you don't always win. And, I just you do appeals, you lose all the fucking time. Then eventually you get the dubs. But, people on Twitter, America's over. Oh my God. Ah! Okay, then great. Like, if you want to fucking quit. If you really think it's time to fucking like strap up and do the work, you better be like killing your social media, selling all your shit, and get ready to go dark. You're not going to do that, though. If you're out there thinking that, you ain't fucking doing it. It's not over. We're not fucking quitting. I'm not fucking quitting. You want to go act like all those little fucking whiny cunts? We're going to back the court. Blah, blah, blah. Then go fucking hang out with those whiny cunts. I'm not doing it. We don't really have much other choices. So do you want to start the serve paramilitary group? Well, guess what? It's not going to work right now. We're not there yet. We still have to fight. So guess what, chat? We're going to fight. We're going to figure it out. We're not done. We are going to win. By God, we will have our home again.
And
it's going to take a while.
Yeah, and part of this is like just kind of manning the fuck up. Like there was an L taken today. Take the L. You're on the dirt, dust yourself off, get the fuck back up, and see it through. Like Sean, can I share this real quick?
Yeah, sure.
Like, this is what the DOJ did today. They weren't whining and crying. Trump said he was going to abide by the decision. He was very calm about it. But then what does the DOJ come out with? They say birth tourism schemes exploit our immigration laws and often violate our criminal laws. The Department of Justice will prioritize the prosecutions of birth tourism schemes across the country. Actors seeking to exploit loopholes to obtain automatic citizenship for their children. And they put out a memo, which is longer, which we could look at, but I actually think this is better in some ways. And look, the point here is there's many ways to approach immigration issues. The Birthright Citizenship case was a home run swing, and it was a good one. And like a lot of dedicated lawyers like Amy Swearer and the teams at the Solicitor General's office put in incredible work and swayed Gorsuch, Alito, and Thomas and Kavanaugh on the constitutional issue. 4 justices, which means this issue is not dead. This is a live issue that could be litigated again, but not for a while. In the meantime, though, there are ways to fix this problem that we can address. We can do what the DOJ is doing, crack down on, birth tourism is immigration fraud. That's an invalid reason for a visa. That's a criminal offense. Crack down on it. We just won a case before the Supreme Court about whether you could keep asylum seekers outside of the country.
Mm-hmm.
Do it. Keep them outside of the country so they're not having kids inside the country while they're seeking asylum. Do asylum reform. There's a million other things that we can do to continue focusing on this issue. We lost a fight. It would have been an amazing home run swing, but that's all it is. You're not done because you lost a fight. Take a second and seethe if you have to, and then fucking dust your shoulder off and get the fuck up off the mat.
Yes. And yes, there are things we could do. Like, we could try this. If you're not a U.S. citizen and you're pregnant, you're not coming in. Or we could set it up where, like, every woman entering has to get punched in the gut by, like, a professional boxer, or we have to throw them down a set of stairs before they come in. Like, at every customs point, there's a set of stairs, like an escalator, and we throw them down the escalator for about 5 minutes. And then when they're done, okay, welcome in. Like, there are multiple ways we can skin this cat, guys. Some of them are funny, but reality, like, we'll figure something out. We'll figure something out here.
Yeah, you can take this down if you want. But and look, the thing about this is, I was telling Sean before we started, like, if you go back in time and imagine when Roe v. Wade was passed, and the right was like aghast and they were trying to figure out what to do about it. It took them 40 years. Nobody even thought birthright citizenship was contestable until 10 years ago, 15 years ago. In the scope of like constitutional litigation and game planning, this is a blink of an eye. Like, this is not done. It's done for now, but there are alternatives. And look, I think that this, even though this did not lead to the outcome that I think either you or I were hoping for, Sean, at the end of the day, this litigation has changed the way this issue is discussed within America. Like, birthright citizenship is now a live issue. The people are galvanized, and that should be momentum that carries into the midterms. We should be talking about getting people out and voting, and talking about constitutional amendments, talking about immigration reform, because you're not going to get a magic cure-all from the court. It's not coming. They're not a genie who's going to grant your wish. So fucking do something. Yeah,
and it's like that woman who went up in front of them. It's like, they had their heckin' immigrino go up there and be like, everybody knows. Actually, no, not everybody thinks that anymore. They're like, yeah, it does suck. Some lady from Guatemala could shit out a kid in the parking lot of a fucking McDonald's, and magically that kid's an American now. Like, yeah, a lot of people are like, wait, what? Yeah, that does seem a little wrong, because nowhere else you go that's worth living, they do that. And Maddie, you're bringing this up here. If you have parents who are U.S. citizens, it doesn't matter where you're born. You're a U.S. citizen. There's no question about that. Like, your nationality is given to you through your parents, through your blood. So, no, you could be born in, Tajikistan, and you're still going to be a U.S. citizen. Yeah,
this is a common misconception. The 14th Amendment is only about who must be given citizenship as a matter of constitutional law. The Congress can give citizenship to people beyond the limits of the 14th. Like, if your parents are citizens and you're born in Europe, you're a citizen, not because of the 14th Amendment, but because Congress passed a law. Right? So there's multiple layers to this. The 14th Amendment is not the be all end all of who's a citizen.
Yeah. No, and I think it's funny because there are so many all the shit talking for the left now is like, well, I guess we don't have to look at the Second Amendment. Literally, it's like, don't let them rope you into that, because here's the hint. Here's the secret. They already don't. So don't fall for that shit. It's like, well, I guess we just read the Second Amendment we want. It's like, you already do. And yeah, you know what? Honestly, I wish the Supreme Court would treat the Fourth Amendment this way and the Fifth Amendment this way. But what do? Every time they get a chance, except for like with Chattree, which we're going to have to read here coming up, guys. Like, for once, they didn't come up to the Fifth Amendment or the Fourth Amendment and go and just shave a little bit off the bottom. But like, every time, like, how many exceptions are there to search warrants? How many different exceptions are out there now? So this idea of the courts, like they read something literally, but they don't all the fucking time. They must read the Fourth Amendment all the time. They must read the Fifth Amendment all the time. You know how many courts shit all over the Second Amendment? A ton of them. So, like, just keep in mind, these people are trying to dab on you. Don't let them depress you. Don't let them buffalo jump you. Hold on. You know, just don't let these cocksuckers get you down, chat.
Well, and also keep in mind that they're baiting you today.
Yeah.
Because these idiots want to pack the court when they get power next, right? That's their big play. They're going to pack the court. Now, you might have thought that if they were really worried about the court's corrupt, it's in Trump's pocket, right? They might have looked at the last couple of days and said, I mean, Trump got some W's, but Trump took an L on Eugene Carroll. The court didn't take that case. Trump took an L on mail-in ballots. Trump took an L on whether he can control the governors of the Fed Reserve. Like, Trump took a lot of L's, and that adds to the tariff case. That adds to the National Guard case. Like, the evidence that this Supreme Court is not in Trump's pocket is overwhelming. It's overwhelmingly clear that they're independent. And by the way, for those of you who are bagging on Justice Barrett all the time, it's not always her. Justice Roberts is the one who's consistently ruling against Trump. It's Barrett sometimes sides with him. Kavanaugh sometimes sides with him. There's been but it was Gorsuch in the tariff case. Like, these are independent judges with independent minds. But about the court packing, these motherfuckers didn't even take one day off. They didn't even take one day off. Trump lost this case, and their tagline is, it should have been 9-0. That shows how corrupt the court is. So the point I'm making is that they are baiting you. They're hoping that you're going to come out saying, oh shit, we got to pack the court. We got to do X, Y, and Z. Say some like overtly tyrannical fucking frothing out the math stuff so that they can then weaponize that to their end, which is ultimately to screw you into the ground forever. So just don't take the bait. Republicans still have the presidency, still have the Senate, still have the House. The game's not over. There's a lot of time left on the clock.
Yeah, but that's the thing, though, guys. And Roberts is a piece of shit. He's a mewling shitheel. You know why, you guys? You know what we remember about Anthony Kennedy? He was the swing vote. Everybody had to come over and jerk him off to get what they wanted out of him. Nobody remembers any opinions Anthony Kennedy wrote. And he's not known for his profound jurisprudence. He's known for being a windsock. That's all he's known for. That's all John Roberts is, fucking windsock. So is Barrett. They're both windsocks.
I will say Thomas and Gorsuch definitely outwrote Roberts on this one. Like, the Roberts opinion is, I mean, it has its high marks. It has areas where it's more convincing. When we get into
not
it,
really parts of it, I think it's horse shit.
Well, this is kind of like my hot take, but I almost wonder if the Trump team outkicked their coverage a little bit, because to me, because I've researched this a lot when I was debating Pisco on it. The strongest argument against birthright citizenship always was there's buckets of evidence that the founders of the 14th generation, 14th Amendment generation, didn't believe that temporary sojourners got birthright citizenship. There's tons of evidence on that point. The Trump team went wide, and they said, we're not just going for the people who are temporarily, we're going for people who are here illegally. And that kind of required them to bring in this domicile theory and do a bunch of other stuff that was legally more complicated. And I thought they did a great job doing it, but that was the part that Roberts teed off on. When they had when he got to the temporary sojourner point, he kind of hand waved it because the evidence is really strong and he didn't want to get into it. But then Thomas lays it out. It's brutal. So, I think there are some soft spots in this opinion that could be picked at in the future.
Yeah, it's there's a lot here. Yeah, at least you're not in the real Warren court. Yeah. Yeah. And laughs at unlimited mail-in ballots. I mean, guys, like I said, if you really think it's time to go strap up and go, start LARPing, I guess go for it. You might do better than those Antifa faggots you're probably not much better going to turn out than them. So,
and those guys are getting 100 years these days.
Yeah, well,
but look,
yeah.
man, like this is going broad, but on the mail-in ballot case, can we be real for a second? By the way, I prefer. I thought it would have been better if they had limited mail-in ballots. That was my preference.
Yes,
right. That's my preference. But all the law says is election day is blank and gives a date. That's it.
Yeah.
There's no.
And we know now that up to 5 days is okay.
Yeah. But like it didn't give a definition of election day. The point is it's not like that was a case where it was like, again, that was a close call. That wasn't a slam dunk. There was no amazing evidence that it was election day meant you had to have the vote cast and counted on election day versus just cast by election day. The statute was totally blank slate on that. So this is like, they're politically significant, and I certainly was disappointed in the outcome. But legally, these were close calls.
Yeah, they very much were. They very much were. And yeah, Mario, how you doing, man? Yes, he's out your way, Ryan, as an attorney doing the lawyer stuff. Yeah, Roberts is results orientated. I will say I've spoken with Matthew Hardin, the illustrious barrister who's helping the farms deal with Russell Greer and other parties. And he says that, John Roberts is worried about being invited to cocktail parties in Silver Springs, Maryland. And it really does seem that way. His view is to protect the institution of SCOTUS as an institution, but he's not helping it as an institution because, like, a bunch of people want to burn it the fuck down. So he's not helping protect it.
I agree with your take there. Like, I actually, of all the justices, I find that Roberts is the most overtly institutionist in the way he views the court. Like, you can see, you often can best explain his decisions based off of kind of like broader political maneuvering. Whereas, like with like Sotomayor, you're going to best describe her decisions by ideological purity. Same with like a Thomas, he's just originalist purity. And then like someone like a Barrett is a devil's in the details person. Like she's going to come out differently based on like really, really in the weeds details.
Yes. And, it's, like I said, guys, at the end of the day, there really aren't we really don't have too many options. So, how do you want to do them? Like, what are we, what are you going to do? Like, if you don't want to hang out with us, then, I don't know, you go hang out with other people. So, but anyways, let's go ahead and actually get into, real quick, Ryan, can you man the store for 1 second? I got to go take care of something for 2.0.
Oh, yeah.
I'll be right back.
No problem.
Hold on, guys.
No problem. So, gang, I'm sure you guys have looked at the decision by now. We're kind of late to the party, coming in late in the day, as it were. By the way, that is partially my fault. I work for a living. I do law for a living, so I'm not necessarily going to be able to stream during the day just because I want to. That's just how it goes. That's how it goes. But if you looked at the decision closely, just to give you the background about how the justices came out, there were two questions. The first was, does birthright citizenship work as a matter of constitutional law, or can it be overturned? And the second was, there is a statute, an immigration statute that basically says the exact same thing as the 14th Amendment, but was passed way later. And would the statute invalidate Trump's executive order? And this decision was actually remarkably close. You had Alito, Thomas, and Gorsuch, who all said that they dissented from this, and that they thought the constitutional question, at least in some instances, would come out on Trump's side. So that's 3 justices strongly in favor. Justice Kavanaugh did side. He concurred. He sided with the majority, but he sided with the majority only on the fact that there's a law, and he thought the law was contrary to the executive order. He did not think the Constitution was contrary to the executive order. So if the law were to be changed, he would change his vote. His issue was that it was an executive order rather than a law. This is why you see Trump calling for Senate to pass a law that would target this issue, specifically because Kavanaugh said he would change his vote if you changed the law. So on the statutory issue, you have a 6-3, but on the constitutional issue, Kavanaugh was actually with the dissenters. So in that side, it was a 5-4. Now, who are the 5 who voted that the executive order was unconstitutional? It was the 3 liberal justices. You had Sotomayor, Kagan, Jackson. Surprise of no one. Then you had Roberts and Barrett. And for those of us who've been watching and listening to people like Sean and me talk about this, Justice Roberts and Justice Barrett were always the ones who seemed like the important members of the conservative wing to target, because they could go either way on this one. And Justice Roberts seemed pretty unconvinced by Trump's arguments at oral argument. He did not seem that into it. Justice Barrett, though, Justice Barrett is convincible. And what do I mean by Justice Barrett is convincible? Justice Barrett is a former law professor, and her decisions tend to be very, very deep in the weeds on very particular issues. So is there a way to create a law that would appeal to Justice Barrett? Narrow it a little bit. Keep in mind, the Trump executive order was really broad. It was really, 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 really broad. It targeted anyone here who was here illegally or temporarily and whose the other parent was not a citizen or having status, and then said that birthright citizenship didn't apply to their children. That's the home run swing. That's the home run swing. But you could be more targeted than that, right? Like, you could pass a law, for example, that says if you are here temporarily for the purposes of engaging in birth tourism, the child does not have status. Okay? That's a very narrow law. It doesn't do as much as what Trump's executive order would have done, but it specifically targets Kavanaugh, and it gives you a shot at convincing Barrett or Roberts. So this is what I mean when I say it's not over. I think that Trump didn't hit his home run swing, but there are ways that you could create legislation that would pick up the threads and the breadcrumbs that were left by Justices Kavanaugh, Alito, and Thomas, and use that to push the policy going forward in kind of a legally savvy way. It's does that mean it's going to work? No, I don't know it's going to work. I'm just saying that there are certainly options. There are certainly options. Meanwhile,
all right, guys, I'm back. Sorry.
Oh, there it goes. I was going to do my grifting. No. So
Yeah.
Sean, hold on, mute yourself.
Okay.
By the way, have enough of you liked the stream? Have enough of you given donos to Sean to pay for his sandwiches? How on earth can you expect Sean to come back from his commercial break without grifting, without donos, without likes, without sandwiches? This is madness. Okay, Sean, I did my best. I tried to get him, Sean. We'll see what.
Okay, thank you. And shoving your VCR says this is retarding its cope. Yeah, it is. It's still a loss. Like, it's a loss is a loss. When you lose by an inch, you lose by a mile. It's a loss. I'm not saying this is good. This is actually like, no, we're not sitting here saying, here's how Hillary can still win. No, it's bad. But like, what are the other choices? Like, start the landfill on fire. Okay, well, great. What exactly does that mean? Like, I don't know what else you want to do.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, is Amy Coney Barrett not exactly what I thought she was going to turn out to be? Yeah. Yeah, I'm not exactly thrilled with a lot of the shit she's done. Could there have been other people picked instead of her? Sure. But you know what? I'll take Gorsuch and Kavanaugh, especially Gorsuch.
Gorsuch
Like, it kind of makes up for the rest of it.
Gorsuch has been he's moving up my tier list. I've got to make a tier list so I can say that without irony. But he's been like the number of times that Gorsuch has written and I've been like, oh, if I was on the court, that's exactly what I would have wanted to say, has been high.
Yeah.
And by the way,
well, in Gondath, we're coming up with different plans. Like, there's a bunch of different shit in motion. Like, this thing didn't work. Like, we went for the fucking kill. This was like the Battle of the Bulge. We're like the Germans trying to capture fucking oil stocks and fuel dumps. We got stopped like 100 yards from the front gate. Okay, that didn't work. We're gonna try something else. Like, there's like, as Ryan said, the DOJ's already trying to cook things up. Well, we still have 2 more fucking years at least. Like, you know, like I said, if you want to give up, give up. But there's still more fucking baseball to be played.
But also, this is the thing about Justice Barrett.
I do want to say this, Alex. Why did anyone think the amendments can be challenged like this?
Because they can.
What do you think's happened to the Second Amendment, the Fourth Amendment, the Fifth Amendment, the Sixth Amendment? You know, like the Eighth Amendment. A lot of these amendments have been challenged. Like, you think that, like, we don't treat them all as sacrosanct things. Like, so let's just think about that for a second. Think about that.
This is
that's the one you get the free one. Otherwise, you got to pay freight from now on.
Yeah, since you took the bait from trollishness. Look, here's
SSRI-ness.
Here's the thing. This is how
she's the one who was debating Rob that one time. She looked like she was like zonked out on SSRIs, right? That was her. Okay,
yeah, that's her.
Yeah, so there you go.
No, but like people act like this is crazy, but that's how constitutional law, constitutional aspects of the Constitution get challenged.
Yeah,
somebody passes a law or an executive takes an action that is subject to judicial review, and then we find out if it was constitutional or not. Like when New York disagrees with with the Second Amendment, they pass a gun law that's too restrictive, and they challenge it. Like this is, exactly, dude. I love. Do you subscribe to me? Please subscribe to me. You're awesome. Jesus, bitches, get used to finding.
Don't you fucking steal my people from me.
I know, but this is like my spirit animal. This is like what I've been saying to people all day.
Yeah,
dust yourself off like a man. Take your L. Fucking move on.
Yeah. Like, it's going to happen. It happens all the time. The fact this even got to the point where we had to fucking discuss it is absolutely insane. Like, think about all the things we've had to deal with.
We got close, man. We got close.
Like, you know, like, that's got to give you some hope. We got to keep fucking going.
And by the way, like, it is easy to bag on Roberts and Barrett today. And
well,
I
understand because they're cocksuckers.
I understand why people are bagging on them, but here's the deal. You probably liked them when they struck down Chevron deference. You probably liked them when they decided the trans case earlier today. You probably liked them when they did presidential immunity. You probably liked them when they struck down Roe v. Wade. You know, but you know what I'm saying? Like, the Chevron deference and Roe v. Wade, just to take those two, those were like the wet dream of the right to strike down the administrative state and to, strike down, the right to abortion. And then beyond that, the win in slaughter where, with unitary executive theory, the win against the administrative state, cracking down in Loper where they get rid of Chevron deference. These are enormous fucking W's that the right's been dreaming about forever. And we took an L. We took an L. Like that, you can't sugarcoat it, but like, the idea that because we took an L one day that we need to like forget about all the W's that came out of these particular justices is kind of crazy. Yeah.
Well, shoving your VCR, it took us a lot. It took a lot longer than 2 years to get to this point where we're all fucked.
By the way, if you think 2 years, if you think 2 years is a long time in terms of like constitutional litigation, 2 years is not a fucking long time. How long
but I think he means in general. Yes, 2 years short, man. 2 years is not a lot of time. But, dude, this is decades of Bolshevism and leftism ruining this fucking country and hollowing it out. The termites have just been gnawing away. And I don't just mean parenthesis termites. I mean the termites of Bolshevism. Maybe the other ones, too. But it takes, like, the termites are here. We got to get them out. and then we got to rebuild, and it's going to take a long fucking time, man. So, yeah, I'm just saying.
Yeah, these things are not easy. And look, the FDR era, in the FDR era, the Wilson era is when they really started doing birthright citizenship the way we know it today. So there's been like 100 years of this practice, and it got chipped away at. It got chipped away at, and that's a useful thing to have done. And now it's time to figure out what the next fucking step is. But like, look, to his credit, the Trump DOJ is already out there with a plan. Like, they're like, okay, well, if you're saying that we can't take away birthright citizenship from people doing birth tourism, we're going to crack the fuck down on birth tourism. Like, if you're here doing birth tourism, we're going to charge you with RICO. We're gonna get you with mail fraud, wire fraud. We're gonna go after you if you're doing birth tourism here, because, by the way, that is a violation of your visa. So there are steps. There are next steps.
Yeah, it's just, and we're gonna get to it now. Well, it's like actually get into this. Yeah. 3 years ago, this was a crackpot theory, and I mean, a lot of this stuff has been crackpot theories. Like, I'm surprised we got to the point where, like, all this immigration shit, and the Supreme Court is like butt fucking all these district court judges over and over and over again now. Like, it's absolutely impressive.
Yeah. And by the way, we do see that supers are coming in. We will find convenient
and that's
times
Mario
to read
for
them.
$10.
Yeah.
Coming in hard.
So. We will find convenient times to read your supers. Do not fear. Do not fear. We have not missed you. We are good grifters. We understand that you paid good money. So I mean, Sean, this is a kind of an order of operations question. The main opinion's not that long.
No.
But if you look at all the
here's
it's 194 pages.
It's 194 pages. And if you guys weren't sure how this broken down here, let's actually just kind of look at real quick. How did this actually go down? So, you have in the red corner.
You all right there, buddy? Oh, shit.
It's cold. I'm still trying to get over it. It's like fucked me up a lot. Anyways, who didn't work for us tonight? Ooh, well, oh God, I'm going to get fucking FBI knocking on my door. Did you do that, Mr. Martin? You're goddamn right I did. Anyways, Roberts, Chief Justice, delivered the opinion of the court where Sotomayor, Kagan, Barrett, and Justice Jackson joined.
Did you mean to share screen this, Sean?
What? Oh, shit. I need to. Yeah, my bad. Uh-oh, chat. Uh-oh. Why is it? Hold on here. Oh, there we go. That's why.
Oh, fuck. Sean's
I had all the different things on there. So
Sean's highlighting for himself.
Yeah. Yes. And we see who's there. So right there, that's who we got, chat. That's 5. That's 5 thus far, shooter. If you can count. Well, then good for you, as the movie goes. And then what do we have from here? Well, then we have the other. What happened to the other 4? So Kavanaugh, and notice, remember, and I hope Kavanaugh wasn't doing this thinking, oh, they'll like me. He filed an opinion concurring in the judgment and dissenting in part, meaning, I like the answer. I like your math. Like, the outcome is correct. Your math is not right. Thomas filed a dissent over about 100 pages.
Yeah.
Gorsuch joined completely. Meaning joining it means I'm co-signing this shit. And then Machine Gun Sammy. And I don't know. I got to figure out a name for Gorsuch. So we got Machine Gun Sammy, Uncle Thomas, Uncle Clarence.
Tommy Gun?
No. Because we got Uncle Clarence. We got Machine Gun Sammy. Because that was his nickname when he was on the when he was in a court of appeals judge. He wrote an opinion saying, like, machine guns aren't that bad. It didn't really go anywhere. We got Brewski Brett, although that's not really mine. But we got Gorsuch, and it's like the noble chief, because he's a very big fan of the Indians. He's a big fan of the Indians.
There we go. Perfect.
Yes. Chief Gorsuch filed a dissenting opinion. So they're like, that's a big deal. That's a big deal, guys. So this was like 5-4, or like kind of like 6-5 to like 3. It's like you get these like little half pieces in it.
Yeah.
So it wasn't as bad. Like, like it's impressive that it got to this point.
Well,
but yeah, basically it's 5-4.
On the constitutional question, it was 5-4. On the statutory question, it was 6-3.
Yes.
So there's room there where, and this is what I was kind of trying to say earlier, that if you wrote a law that was very narrow and targeted, not broad like the Trump executive order, but a scalpel of a law.
Hold on, Billy. Hold on. Oh my God, we're fucked. We're all gonna die. Ah! There. Like,
you feel better, Billy?
Jesus Christ. You fucking whiny cunts. Just like, it's just dripping out of you. Like, is that what you want? Like, okay, we're fucked. Like, go be the warlord of your cul-de-sac, buddy. Like, God. Like, no, it's like it didn't work. Like, what do you want? What do you want?
I think some people just like being doomers on the internet.
Yeah.
This is what I'm coming to, where it's just like they just get joy out of it. But they're like, I'm not a serious person. I'm not here to actually solve problems. I just like to bitch online. Oh, the whining.
Yeah, and I get you're crying. Yes, Iran's turned into a fucking dumpster fire, and it's really fucking bad. Okay, great. What do you want to do? Like, I guess we're voting for Pete Buttigieg or something. Like, okay, Trump's not going to do it. Trump kind of sucks at this shit. And that's the sad thing. He's like the best qualified person to do it. I don't know what the fuck you think is going to happen here, Kill Billy. So once again, like, fit new fucking tampons or something, dude. Because like you're fucking crying about the crocodiles eating gazelles on the Discovery Channel, dude. It is what it fucking is for now. I don't know what more you want.
But also, like, what did Kill Billy...
I made your dog fart. You scared him.
What did Kill Billy say when they overturned Roe v. Wade?
I don't know.
Or when they fucking did presidential immunity?
Yeah.
Or when they got rid of Chevron? Like, where was Kill Billy then? You know, like, bet he fucking loved the court.
He was supposed to great. I mean, and he hasn't been. So, like, what's the game plan now? So, once again, I need to know who. If you tell me who to go back, I will. But if you're just going to kvetch, I could kvetch on my own.
Yeah. What Kill Billy would have liked is he would have preferred that Trump in his first term appoint someone like wildly unqualified to do some partisan shit who would have gotten impeached during Biden's term. You know, it's just it's easy to sit here and be like, oh, okay, fucking years later, 30,000 feet up, I think you should have done X, Y, and Z thing. There's been tremendous wins coming out of this court. It's the idea that like one loss,
good, but overall, So, is it still a far right extremist court? Yeah. If you go ask the people crying about the court backing, yes.
Apparently,
they don't feel they're upset about this. But anyways, let's just get into this.
They didn't even take a fucking day off. It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, they took the weekend. They could have knocked this out they could have knocked this out a little better, but they didn't. They could have had some big box days and done this right, but. So they go through all this, talk about Trump's history here, and they go through this. Yes, the story of citizenship in the United States begins with English common law. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Before the revolution, yes, you were considered a subject of the sovereign. Yep.
But see,
that arose. Yes. Oh,
this is already the key point of distinction. Yeah. If you believe that English common law applies to America in the way that they're laying out, then birthright citizenship is already lost. But here they say the magic words. You were considered subjects of the sovereign. Under British common law, you were not considered citizens. You were considered subjects. We kind of rejected that norm with the revolution. That we have citizens, not subjects. Yeah. It's a different thing. But in any case, I'm sure they're going to blow past that.
Yeah, well, they're gonna hand wave past all this shit. That arose not from royal fiat. Well, technically, guess where the common law came from? The royal fiat. I mean, the common law just doesn't happen on its own. Well, anyways, the king owes those born within dominions a duty of protection.
Mm.
Well, the government doesn't owe that to us, so I guess how does that work nowadays? Square that with DeShaney versus Winnebago County, or fucking Gonzales v. Castle Rock.
Yeah, it's
Notice we're just picking where we need to go here.
It's a bit of a generalized protection, let's say.
Yeah, well, and in return for that protection, those born within the dominions owe to the king a duty of allegiance.
And again,
yeah, you could be called up to serve in the military. You could be drafted and levied, along with the rest of your yeoman farmers, to go fight, as routinely would happen. Your feudal lord, your vassal that you worked for on the land, would be told to bring up a levy, and he had to do it as part of his job. That is a normal thing.
It is what happened, but then the next sentence again, this is the giveaway for me. Children born without allegiance were natural-born subjects.
Yes.
Under English common law, you were a natural-born subject.
Yes.
Not a natural-born citizen. And
yes.
there is a difference there, because being a subject to a feudal lord is not the same thing as being a citizen in a free society.
And as Lord Coke in No Chat, I get it, based, put in his case here, the dual and reciprocal tie thus connects the sovereign and his subjects. So if these people don't have a loyalty and they go around waving flags from whatever shithole their mom popped them out of, can we say they aren't entitled to citizenship? Can we say if somebody goes on identify, like a congresswoman identifies herself as a Guatemalan American, and she goes on and babbles in fucking Spanish at things, and she's proud of being an anchor baby, and I guess we're arguing we can get rid of her now.
I'm stuck on Lord Coke. Did Nick Rekieta ever make that joke? Because there's something there.
No, he's not that good. He's got a brain full of holes now, so no.
Because if Nick Rekieta, that would be a deep cut legal thing. If he came out and said, as the author of the celebrated Calvin's case, I would like to talk to you about. So that would be really fun.
Well, he's not gonna. I don't know if he's gonna stream anytime soon. It's gonna be tough. So he's got violin class. You got kids. Mm-hmm. How do you do all this and take? Do your kids go to violin lessons and underwater welding and stuff like that?
Yeah, my kids are young. That's why I'm always streaming at night, because my kids are young enough that I can put them to bed. Where it's all right, it's 8, go to sleep.
Okay. All right. And they say, because the sovereign's power is limited in respect, so too is the scope of this rule. He could not demand allegiance from, for he could not protect those born in lands he did not control. Yeah. Which is kind of like normal. We're getting to not only common law, but Westphalian sovereignty here.
Yeah, this is basically common sense. If you don't control the territory,
people born
then
in the king's lost dominions. And guys, if you didn't know this, the British crown owned land in France, quite a bit of land in France, for quite a long time. They controlled about half of France, roughly. In France, and Aquitaine, and then Normandy, obviously, because the Normans came from Normandy up into England, and then that kind of all started from there in 1066. Land over which he claimed an absolute right, but had no actual power to rule. Yeah. The same held true in areas where his kingdom that were temporarily outside of his control. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. If you're and think about this. This is very interesting. He brings this up. If you were born in a castle where the enemy controlled it, there's a question about your allegiance. Yeah. Yeah. Huh.
Yeah.
If your parents aren't loyal subjects here. Wow.
Yeah. If the Canadian Mounties swung down and conquered Maine, and then they had a bunch of kids.
It's almost like he almost wants to get it, but he doesn't want to get it. What if your parents aren't loyal subjects? If some lady from France shits out a baby over in Essex or in Winchester, is that somehow now a British subject? No, you wouldn't do that back then. Same held true for ambassadors. Yeah, that's true. And yes, and they're under the allegiance of their home country. Yes.
Yeah, and there's a legal fiction that the ambassador was not within the territory of the country because he was it's kind of like an embassy is not We all pretend that the embassies in New York City are not actually in America.
Yeah.
They're foreign soil, but obviously they're like built in Manhattan.
And see, this actually, I don't like, he says this, but I think this is like, there's no way fucking like, by the time this Calvin's case is written, I don't see how they would have believed this. Like this idea that a foreign mother could enter the British Islands, give birth, and leave with their child, and the very next day that child be subject to remain a British subject. Why? Because the child owed an implied allegiance to the sovereign who protected him at birth, no matter how momentary and uncertain his presence in the king's realm was. There is like, okay, Calvin's case was decided in what year? Calvin's case is decided in what year here?
Well,
no, I know, but I just want to, I'm going to say this. It's like 1765. 1760. Oh, actually, I think so. Yeah. I think it's 1765. Okay. Like that, like, okay, 1765 is a little different. Let's rewind the clock back to like during the 100 Years fucking war. Think about the 100 Years fucking war. If you guys didn't know that, England and France fought a war that went 100 fucking years. And that's because that's when England owned a good portion of France for about 100 years. Joan of Arc, you know, holler at your girl. That's where she got famous. Battle of Agincourt. You know, the Battle of Crecy. The Battle of the Golden Spurs. Not a lot of these battles went really well for the French at the end of the day, if you've ever read about them. But this idea that if a Frenchwoman came and shit out a kid on British soil, there's no way anybody would say, oh, that's a British subject, and we let him live here. No, they'd be suspicious as fuck and say, get the fuck out. You are not a subject of ours. By 1765 is different. Even more importantly, try that in the middle of the Napoleonic Wars, the Battle of the Fifth Coalition. Try that in 1814. When the Allied nations are chasing Napoleon all the way back from Russia, and Western Europe, you know, Eastern France and Western Germany is just getting burned to the ground and fighting. Try that. Try that.
So there's a few. This is
I'm
why
sorry. I'm just saying.
Yeah, this is why I was highlighting that language earlier about it's not a birthright citizenship. They're
also
talking about,
apparently, yes, it's about the union of the crowns too. Fuck these people. Okay,
but they're talking about birthright subjecthood. Like the reason that rule existed in the places that it existed was because feudal lords wanted labor. Yes. So if you had a kid on their territory, they owned the labor of that peasant for the rest of their life. They wanted the labor. Now, the other part of that was this wasn't like a society that had computerized records. So if you were here, if you were on somebody else's land and you had a kid and you didn't want to like serve that liege, you just you left, and then you never told people about it. And it was unprovable because there's no records. So you had a system that worked on paper the way it worked because people were looking for feudal labor. And for those who were going to like you were saying, like a French woman who gave birth in a territory and then left, you know, she could avoid that for her kids, making them English, because she could just take them back to France. So I don't think this rule applies to America in the way that they're suggesting here that it does, personally.
Well, I'm just saying, like, England, like, go back in time. There's no way the English would have considered that kid to be a subject that they would treat with all the rights entitled to it. You know, I'm entitled to rights under the Magna Carta. They would have said, fuck you. No, you're not. I mean, like, John Roberts, if we're gonna do common law, motherfucker, let's do common fucking law. Like, come on now. But we're not doing that. The same rule applied to children born in the realm of parents subject to expulsion. For example, children of gypsies. Well, nobody likes the gypsies. Today called the Romani or Roma, they're still gypsies. Were born in the realm where natural born subjects, notwithstanding British law at the time, that directed the Roma people to avoid the realm under pain of imprisonment. You guys might say, are there gypsies in the British Isles? Yes, they're known as pikeys. Or if you guys ever watched Peaky Blinders, they're gypsies.
Yeah. See, this, by the way, this is an example of what I was saying earlier, where I was saying, the executive order, if you guys remember, did two things. It targeted people who were here illegally and people who were here temporarily. And I always said the argument against the temporary was a lot stronger than the argument against people who were here illegally. This is part of the reason why, because this is correct. And the Roma were there illegally, but still benefited from birthright citizenship under British common law. But so that's a very tough argument to make about the people who were there to try to transplant that today and say people who are here illegally deny it. But the arguments against temporary being a bar to birthright citizenship are much weaker. So this is, you're going to see Robert spend a lot of time focusing on the illegality or the domicile arguments and less squarely on the temporary points, which is where I think the Trump administration is stronger and should focus their efforts in the future.
Yeah. But this is the neat thing, chat. Like, this is what judges can do. I got a lot of points. I don't care. I'm not focusing on those ones. And at the appellate level, that's how this works.
Yeah, you've got the votes.
It's called distinguishing. It's called ignoring. It happens all the time. So they're talking about in 1855 in Massachusetts deported a pauper Irish mother with her American-born infant who was acknowledged to be native-born. What kind of outcry? What kind of outcry really was there? Like, we don't know what kind of outcry was there. For those children or others born in Britain, the rule was the same. With protection came allegiance, and the allegiance came the status of a natural-born subject.
Again, subject, not citizen, subject.
Well, that too. But still, if I was born in 1345, I'm not getting fucking knighted by the King of England if I'm French. Especially if I'm born to parents who live in Paris. I was at the court of the Dauphin, the French prince. So, anyways, this feud crossed the Atlantic with the colonists and was adopted with little fanfare after the Revolution. As the subjects of the sovereign became citizens of the United States. So you're acknowledging it's literally the same thing. We just changed the name.
Yeah, and this is a very contentious point. The people who are making this side of the argument, I'm going to try to be as fair as I can. Their argument is subject and citizen are kind of analogous or maybe even synonymous. And people in America kept doing this after the country was founded, and they have some good evidence for that. The counterpoint, and I'm not trying to discount it, they have some good evidence. The counterpoint is in England under British common law, subjecthood was eternal. It could not be broken. If you were English and you owed allegiance to the English king, you couldn't expatriate and choose to become something else. You had to be English forever. You owed allegiance to the king forever.
And if you went to another sovereign, you were a traitor.
Yeah. And so when we had the American Revolution, that violated English common law because we renounced our British citizenship. So the idea that we would carry over this rule of unrenounceable subjecthood, even though it was contradictory with the revolution, seems to be a bit of a stretch. So, but I do want to be fair here. There are arguments on both sides of this point.
Yes. This common law citizenship known as jus soli, or right of the soil, prevailed in each and all of the states after the American independence and continued to emphasize reciprocal allegiance and protection.
Oh.
And it said, they go back to that, by the doctrine of natural allegiance, all who were born within the jurisdiction of the state were citizens. Yeah, but you also, if my parents were from Georgia, I wouldn't go around calling myself a Georgian Rhode Islander. I wouldn't go waving the fucking flag of Georgia everywhere I went. There's a lot of different here. There's a lot of different here. And colored men. When the newly independent Americans confronted a novel situation, unknown to England, that of the quasi-sovereign Indian tribes, they turned to the principles of the common law. Well, did the tribes truly govern their people? I mean, until we told them no. Were their people wholly subsumed within the United States? Basically, they were. We did whatever the fuck we wanted to them. And they tried to sue. And God, what's that case? early on in the Supreme Court where they basically admitted, yeah, it's with the Indian land. We basically said, yeah, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. Well, we'll get into this, but I've always found that the more let's say the more right-leaning version of birthright citizenship better explains the phenomenon of Indians at the time of the 14th Amendment.
Yes.
Like they had like they're described as being quasi-sovereign, but in that sense are an exception to birthright citizenship. But on my side of the argument, we just say, well, they don't owe allegiance to the United States. And because they don't owe allegiance, they don't get birthright citizenship. There's no exception. The rule just applies normally. Whereas on the other side, they have to come up with an exception to deal with this special circumstance.
Now, it talks about here, and this is true, we purchased the greater part of their lands, destroy their hunting grounds, and gradually abridge the native independence. Well, dream catchers versus gunpowder, that's what happens. The Stone Age ran headlong into the Renaissance and the Enlightenment. And guess what happened? They lost. I mean, they couldn't even build a fucking wheel. They weren't even making copper tools. They hadn't even got out of the Stone Age. So it's like, what do you expect to happen? And Native Americans get really mad when you point that out. It's like, you guys weren't even making fucking metal tools yet. Like, what did you expect? It gets them really pissed off. So, even so, they reason the United States never dealt with those people within our national limits as if they were extinguished sovereignties. Yeah, they were instead dependent nations that maintained dominions over their own. On paper, yes, but we did whatever the fuck we wanted to them. We treated them as stateless people that we could fuck with. Indians born in those dominions, he concluded, were not citizens or subject to the United States, but members of alien sovereign tribes. That's true, and we did whatever the hell we wanted to them. And they say, in a nation of immigrants, an asylum for mankind, in Thomas Paine's words, Fuseli's broad scope took on particular importance. The young republic attracted tens of thousands of emigres from the old world, the Scotch-Irish. That's not right! These people didn't fuck a wicker bottle. They're not made out of alcohol. They're Scots-Irish. They're not fucking Scotch tape. They're not it's not fucking Scotch-Irish. It's Scots-Irish, you Harvard-trained cocksucking faggot.
I did not think that was going to be the thing that got you so mad.
I fucking hate a lot of these things. I'm going to bag on this motherfucker everywhere I can. He fucked up in a lot of places, but this is a big one too. Oh, Mr. Hoity-toity. I went to the fucking top fucking schools in America. Fuck you.
You're saying he got it wrong, and I'm like, oh, what did he get wrong? And I'm trying to read did he get the common sense quote wrong? Should I look up common sense? And you're like, no, Scots-Irish.
Well, I'm sure that, you know what? They're sucking off Thomas Paine anyway. It's just, come on. And some dumb fuck, clerk who's going to go make $300,000 a year next year. Joke's on me, I guess.
Well,
but
also,
the French...
They just said they were immigrating. They didn't say, that doesn't really tell you anything of substance. But
the French
based,
immigration. The Germans based. The Welsh don't count as people. They don't count as people. And many more, some of whom hope to stay only on a short time. Well, then they're not looking out, and others whom hope never to leave. Okay.
All right.
Yeah, no matter their intentions, they can be assured that their children would be American citizens by birth alone.
By the way, notice there is no citation for that. It just says it. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sure he'll develop the point.
Justice Story said nothing is better settled. No, not really. The very first American legal treatise agreed. The system of the laws of the state of Connecticut. Okay, so one state, and that was back when people treated their states like countries. This is back, children of aliens are citizens for which they owe a duty at birth to the government under whose protection they came into existence. Okay.
So, he's citing this. One of the things that's important here is to analyze the power of the historic evidence. Yes. What he has so far is he has this Connecticut. What is this? This
yes,
isn't
we
even
got
a
one
case.
guy in Connecticut.
This is Z Swift, a system of laws of the state
Yes.
of Connecticut. So this is not a
Zebediah, probably.
This looks like a treatise from 1795. Okay, and that's what it is. And then he has this justice story opinion, which was I think this is a circa 1830 opinion.
Well, I want to ask Justice Roberts, because the funny thing is, you could say, "Did you actually read this book?" They probably have this book in their law library. But like, are you actually citing this, or is that a quote you found somewhere? Anyways, they talk about the antebellum era's foremost case on the topic, Lynch v. Clark, from New York. Lynch reiterated the common law rule was the law of the land for the children of citizens and foreigners. I just still think, Ryan, though, the law of the land, there should be, the law of the land, jus soli, it should be the soil, but also jus sanguinis, like of the blood. But, we could combine them, so it could be like blood and soil together. Ryan's like, I disavow.
I think I see you. I think you're going somewhere with this, Sean. You seem to be.
Yes.
What's the point you're making? Can you say it plainly?
The promise of American citizenship declared extends to all persons born within the jurisdiction of the United States. Common law made no distinction on account of race or color. Okay, but the slave states did. Well, the United States
sure did.
The United States did too, because they didn't grant citizenship to these fucking people. The Constitution was signed with this in there. And they say, southern states sought to deny citizenship to Black Americans. They did. And they say it was not the place of a man's birth that made him a citizen. And now they're trying to say, if you like this, you must like swave a wee. But the rights and privileges he may be entitled to enjoy. They say, on that view, the prejudice of the caste was unconquerable.
Yeah, this is leading into Dred Scott.
Yeah. Oh, it's still. So when I go to Britain and I'm not a British citizen, it's a caste system. Yeah. Mario says Z Swift literally says if you don't come in with a passport, they can take any of your stuff. Based. So let's keep going here. They say not even emancipation can confer citizenship, these states held, because free African Americans still suffer from social and civil degradation based on the taint of the blood. Okay.
Okay, so he's teeing up the jus soli, jus sanguinis distinction. Yep.
Yes. So with the common law abandoned, almost 500,000 blacks were left a little more than strangers. Yeah. And they said, slaves without masters, basically. And I say, in the odious decision of Dred Scott, this court imposed on the southern states beliefs on the nation. I mean, Chief Justice Taney concluded the words of the people of the United States and citizens had an unexpressed and atextual racial component. And they said, even if Massachusetts or Connecticut chose to grant citizenship, they could still not participate in national affairs. How? I mean, if I live in Massachusetts, are they going to stop me from voting? Are they going to stop me from doing stuff there?
Well, I think it means that you couldn't become like a senator. You couldn't vote for national elections.
Well, to be fair, there ain't no black fucking senator getting elected in 1844 or something.
True, but yeah,
let's be real.
There's denial on the federal level.
I know, but this is one of those times where we just need to say,
let's be honest.
We just got to be honest with ourselves here. We got to be honest. And they said, going on here, and they said Dred Scott was met with shock. So much shock that they left it alone for like a long fucking time.
Well, they did arguably fight a civil war over it, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but even then, it still survived for a long time.
Yeah. It was Dred Scott was what the 14th Amendment was overturning. That was that was the. This is spoiler alert. This is Justice Thomas's point, is that the 14th Amendment was meant to actually change and overturn Dred Scott specifically, because after the Civil War, even though the Civil War had been won and in theory the Emancipation Proclamation had happened, there was the Supreme Court case that said, as a matter of constitutional law, freed blacks can never become citizens. And they were like, how the hell do we fix that? And they fixed it with a constitutional amendment.
Yes, so they get through all this, and they said, when this is done, Frederick Douglass predicted, the glorious birthright of our common humanity will once again become the inheritance of all the inhabitants of this highly favored country. Oh, so it's inhabitants of this highly favored country, so people who already live here. Huh. Yeah. Isn't that a little interesting how they phrase that?
An inhabitant
still using that, and it's like
somewhat different than a visitor.
Yeah.
You could say.
Yeah. I'm just, yeah. Yes, and ironically, I was 3/5 wrong with my 7-2 call. Yes.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah, Tech Guy South, you're correct. Yes, Dred Scott was 1857. The war started in 61. That's hardly a long time. Yeah, but if the South had not seceded, we wouldn't. We would have been dealing with this up into the 1890s, probably.
Yeah, it's an interesting historical question. Is like
the North wouldn't have gone and moved on anything. Lincoln was willing to keep negotiating.
Yeah, and also like how much the Dred Scott decision precipitated the war versus was an attempt to forestall it as a compromise with the South. Like there's different views on that, but either way, the timing was certainly that the Dred Scott decision certainly seemed to have kicked things off, whatever the intent was. Yeah, it's certainly not one that's recalled fondly, let's say, of all the decisions in the history of the United States Supreme Court. Dred Scott is certainly up there as the most odious.
Yes, but anyways, inhabitants. Well, I think Plessy versus Ferguson's even worse. Ultimately, but notice they talk about inhabitants, people already living here, les habitants.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, the court overruled the common law, but the people eventually would overrule the court. It took more than a decade, and the addition of names such as Antietam, Gettysburg, and Chancellorsville to our national canon, but Douglas's vision of our common humanity would be fulfilled.
They won the war.
Yes, the Reconstruction did not start from scratch. In the midst of the war, Lincoln's Attorney General Edward Bates had issued a landmark opinion that sought to displace Dred Scott in favor of the common law. Wait, so they did some ultra-vires shit. They literally just said, no, we're not following this anymore.
Yep.
I thought we weren't allowed to do that. No kings and shit. Whoa. Whoa, buddy.
Yeah.
How does that work? You can't do that.
Yeah, they absolutely said
you can't do that.
Decision is no good. We're going to move past it.
Yeah, so he just ignored the Supreme Court. What the fuck? No, you can't do that. It's fascism. It's fascism, chat. We're a black cat.
Sean, it's only fascism if you do it.
Yeah. Yeah, how do we do this? So Bates rejected the premise that citizenship is ever hereditary. Well, if I'm born outside the United States, then how do I get it?
Okay, so parents. So Bates was a big fan of jus soli and said all the magic words there. So that's
but I mean, if I'm not born here, then I'm not a citizen here. I mean, how does that work if I'm born up in Canada or I'm on a boat? I'm on a boat.
You're on a boat, motherfucker.
Yeah. How would he square that? Every person born in the country, he wrote, at the moment of birth is prima facie a citizen. Thought I referenced race or color or any other accidental circumstances. Well, don't you think national allegiance and national origin is a circumstance that we should be worried about? So if Confederates started just sending women up north and they started shitting out kids on the other side of the Mason-Dixon line, they're magically now citizens. Yeah, I don't think you would agree with that. I don't think you would have agreed with that.
Well, he did say that it's prima facie, not guaranteed. But I guess they say the next sentence. It's the
one digging on that hill, man.
They're only the ones like the ambassadors, etc. Blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm. He's the one who's saying it, not me. I'm just saying, man. You wanna. He's the one who made a shitty argument, not me. I mean, I make a lot of shitty ones, but not this one.
Yeah, I didn't make this shitty argument, and that's the point. You want me to
I mean,
read
who
a
the
little
fuck is this guy? Where the fuck did he go? He didn't go to the University of Toledo.
Yeah, I mean, he was just the attorney general for Lincoln.
Yeah, so what the fuck? He probably wore a stovepipe hat too. Motherfucker probably read by candlelight as well.
Hat was filled with
son
mercury.
Of a bitch. Yeah. Fuck him. I mean, these exceptions were few simply the small and unadmitted class of the natural born composed of the children of foreign ministers and the like. I understand, but it's like, okay, well, how does that work then? If I was a Confederate and I sent my wife up north and she pops out a kid, are you going to say that's a U.S. citizen?
I mean, that they would say, yeah, that's I think.
Yeah, but I don't well, okay, well then great. And let's say the Civil War runs for 35 years, and then we get a pro-slavery president who can win.
Mm-hmm.
Is he going to go, oh, well? No, he wouldn't do that. He would not do that. He wouldn't support that. Yeah, we're all angry, but leave stovepipe hats alone. Thank you.
Priorities.
Yes. A year after General Lee surrendered at Appomattox, Congress sought to turn the opinion into law.
Yeah, but they could.
The result was the Civil Rights Act of 1866.
By the way, the Civil Rights Act, this is, I'm curious to see how he treats this language, because the Civil Rights Act of 1866 does not say the same thing the 14th Amendment said. It says something very, very different. So we'll see what it says.
The act declared that all persons born in the United States and not subject to any foreign power, excluding Indians that were not taxed. And what does that mean? Well, if there were Indian tribes that were being taxed, they were considered they were considered citizens.
And it says not subject to any foreign power.
Yeah.
So if you came here and you were a citizen of another nation, you are subject to a foreign power. Therefore, this would not apply.
Yep.
Right? So the Civil Rights Act of 1866 does not say the same thing the 14th Amendment does. It says that it excludes people who would be here temporarily because their children would owe allegiance to their country, not this country, because they would be subject to a foreign power. This is very different than the text of the 14th Amendment. So I'm curious, because they say he described this. Let me scroll up on my end. After a year after General Lee's surrender, Congress sought to turn Bates's opinion into law, but this is very different than what Bates said. Bates said it could never be hereditary. It was all about where you're born. But here they're saying if you're subject to a foreign power, it might be hereditary. So this is
or if you're an Indian.
Yeah, this is completely.
So there were limits.
Yeah, this is completely different than what Bates said.
Yes. And the act was simply assumed to invoke the common law rule. As Bates had in his ablest and most exhaustive opinion. Except that's not at all what he said right here. These are not the same thing.
They're not the same thing. By the way, I think they meant ableist as a compliment, but I read it as ableist, oh, you're being ableist. As Bates when he was making fun of people in wheelchairs in his opinion. I didn't.
Yeah.
I misread that.
You got rickets and scurvy. Say, indeed, the bill's sponsor, Lyman Trumbull, enthusiastically agreed with the bill's critics that it would make citizens of the children of Chinese and Gypsies born in this country. And I don't know. I think if you put Senator Trumbull in a fucking time machine, he'd be like, oh, fuck, we got to go back. There's no way he's like, yes, I want my country being fucking butt fucked.
Well,
this.
But also this language cuts the other way. Trumbull agreed with the bill's critics, and then they tried to. They were concerned, for example, you raised the example of Indians not taxed, that it might make citizens of Indians that are taxed. So then that's what they were trying to fix when they passed the 14th Amendment. So he's framing this as if Trumbull's quotes on balance support his position, but I would say Trumbull's quotes on balance cut the other way.
I think so too, but it says Trumbull saying it's not okay. So Roberts is lying.
Okay. He's very selectively quoting. A lawyer never lies, Sean. We selectively quote.
Yeah, he lies. The specter of Dred Scott loomed over Congress's efforts. Opponents of the act contended that Congress could not grant such expansive citizenship by statute alone. To quiet those concerns and permanently enshrine the common law, Congress returned to the 14th Amendment.
Again, absolutely no citation for that premise that this is why they did it.
Yeah.
Right. They just
what the Civil Rights Act began, the 14th Amendment would finish.
No citation.
Yeah. Like the act, the 14th Amendment was intended to repudiate Dred Scott. Well, they could have said Dred Scott is hereby repudiated. Yeah, this time, however, the goal was even grander, to put the great question of citizenship beyond the legislative power altogether. Except it wasn't. It wasn't beyond the legislative power. We've had to pass all kinds of statutes for people in the meantime.
But also, this is why I was saying, I was calling out no citation, no citation.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be like a, pedantic dick. The reason I'm doing it is that when he has a good quote that proves the point.
You have to tell the LLM to give you sources.
Yeah. Bingo. When he has a good quote that proves his point, he puts it there, right? When he doesn't have a citation that the Civil Rights Act,
you say everybody knows.
Yeah, he leaves it bare because he's just saying it. He doesn't have a source. If he had a source, he would have included it.
I mean, honestly, based on this, that means all the Immigration and Naturalization Acts are void. 14th Amendment settled it. We can't have any other legislative power altogether. Indians, sorry. Drink your firewater without a citizenship card. No passports for you, Chief.
Still excluded.
Still not Americans. I'm just reading what the man said. This is if I was a Native American, I'd be really fucking pissed about this. So I guess I could lose it because I'm not guaranteed it. They say the 14th Amendment cheat the same. The citizenship clause mirrored common law criteria for citizenship. The clause like the common law starts with, but it doesn't cover. What about the Civil Rights Act of 1866? It says a child must be born in the United States, not elsewhere. It says even to American parents. Well, they're born to American parents in America. Nobody's going to fucking question the kid's an American.
No one's ever questioned that. Yeah.
Yeah. And the clause ends again, like the common law, with sovereign power. A child must be subject to the jurisdiction of the United States. Unlike, say, the families of foreign ministers. A child born on American soil is subject to American law, was made an American citizen.
So that's the whole debate. The whole debate on this is whether or not
it's almost like a tautology. Almost.
What does the subject of the jurisdiction? Yeah, he didn't really. He just said it. Yeah. He didn't explain it yet. So that is, as arguments
they're citizens because they're citizens. Why? Because they're citizens.
Yeah. Nobody really has disputed the born in America part. We all know what that means. The question is, what does subject to the jurisdiction of the United States mean? Yeah. Which that's the whole debate. Does that mean full political allegiance, or does it mean any sort of jurisdictional territorial allegiance? And that's a lively dispute. It's not a settled. I guess it is. Technically, it is now settled because we have a 5-4 on this issue, but that was what the litigants were going after each other on. So he hasn't given us a reason to prefer this interpretation over the other interpretation at this point. That there was no citations, there's no argument.
And the fact that he doesn't keep talking about the Civil Rights Act of 1866 tells you a lot. Because he just says, what does the amendment in common law say? Not what the Civil Rights Act repudiated. You notice that he just talks about that of the common law. Yeah, common law.
It's very.
What about the Civil Rights Act 1866 there, Johnny? Oh, I don't want to talk about that.
Yeah. Thus far, this is fairly, I don't want to say hand wavy, but it's pretty brisk and concise, and it's not exactly rich in detail.
Yeah. They actually had to put a lot of work into this to dance through the minefield. A lot of choreographing here. Now, he said, so did the first legal treatise on the rights of free black Americans. And it says, all who are born within the jurisdiction of a state are citizens. And so did the famed antebellum lawyer Horace Binney, or Biney, I forget how you pronounce the name. Children born within the limits and under the jurisdiction of the United States are citizens. And it says, little wonder then that the Citizenship Clause's principal author would explain that its language was a simple declaratory of the law of the land already. But it's not the law of the land already. The Civil Rights Act was the law of the land as of then.
Yeah, and again, this
was the law. The Civil Rights Act abrogated the common law.
He is also, I mean, in terms of like selective quotation, he's omitted the reams of evidence that people who were temporary sojourners did not get birthright citizenship. And there's endless historic evidence on that point, which Justice Thomas articulates in great depth and detail. So I mean, again, maybe he's trying to give a quick, concise argument, and he'll do a little bit more later. But thus far, he has not really dealt with the counterpoints.
Yes, and honestly, guys, once again, I'll tell you, I didn't go to the best law schools in the world. I will say Toledo was a lot better than where it is right now. When I went, Toledo was a top 100 law school, so I was a second tier law school.
Oh,
okay. It wasn't like now where it's like a tier 8, but it was a second tier law school. But I'd like to think I'm asking questions here and pointing out things that even the most Harvard trained John Roberts is kind of swinging and missing on here, and And where'd you
this stuff was teed up. It was in the briefs. It's in Justice Thomas's dissent. He just hasn't, thus far, what he's done is he's cherry picked the good quotes for his side of the argument and strung them together. Sometimes he didn't have enough, so he had to just say things without a quote. But he cherry picked the good ones. But I'm going to be fair. There are some good quotes on their side. It's just there's a lot more on my side of the argument, in my opinion. But he does not seem to be dealing with them yet.
Casey, there are 8 tiers. No, there's 4. But I'm just joking that it's really gone down far. If you're not in the top, if you're not a tier 1, there's tier 1. But even then, within tier 1, it's the T14 is all that matters, really. The top 14 schools in America. Being in a tier 1 school, okay, great. Tier 2 is But if you're in tier 3 or tier 4, it's bad.
The prestige factory that is the practice of law.
Yes, there is some there. There's some there. It is what it is, chat. It says that law was clear. Well, what was the Civil Rights Act clear? Any child is born under the protection of the U.S., that is, any child for whom no extraterritorial fiction applied, was made a citizen for he owed a natural allegiance and thus obedience to the nation.
And this is the same case he was citing above.
So when they don't exhibit natural allegiance, that means they're not citizens.
Wait, hold on.
I mean, if I'm a U.S. if I was born here and then I have no allegiance to America, and say I have no allegiance to America, am I admitting I'm not a citizen? Have I waived citizenship? Have I forfeited it?
So, but just to point out the sleight of hand,
I'm just spitballing.
And this is bothering me, just because Lynch, that he quotes Lynch here, right, for this very clear rule about what the 14th Amendment means. But Lynch was the case he cited earlier, Lynch v. Clark, which was the New York case articulating the common law as the New York court understood it in 1844, 20 years before the Civil Rights Act and before the 14th Amendment was passed. So unless they had crystal balls, the court in Lynch was not opining on what the 14th Amendment meant. So this quote that he's given here is not about the 14th Amendment. This is about the New York court's opinion of the common law prior to the 14th Amendment.
But that based on that means it's, John Roberts, he took his dick and glued it to this book, saying my common law, and he glued the 14th Amendment and he sandwiched his wiener in between them. I'm going with what he said. Now, if I confronted him with this, he'd say, "Oh, you got it wrong, sir," or I wouldn't actually agree with that because he's a coward.
Yeah, the reason I point out the sleight of hand with the citation isn't because look, that's how lawyers write. I get it, but it's that
this is sleight of hand though. That if you weren't in the highest court in the land, if you're some lowly trial attorney, you might get in trouble for.
But my point is, if he had a really slam dunk citation from
he would drop it.
1869 that was about the 14th Amendment, he would have used it. But it doesn't exist. And this is why this is a closer issue than a lot of people thought, because it is not at all clear that the people who wrote the 14th Amendment actually thought that birthright citizenship applied to temporary sojourners. It's not at all clear. And the evidence that Justice Thomas cites later, there's just enormous evidence to the contrary.
No, and that's very true. You know, like if everybody knows, well, not everybody knew.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like this may have been something people thought about, but that doesn't mean that means it was settled.
Well, Black, the famous author of Black's Law Dictionary, he wrote a constitutional treatise, and he said at this time that it didn't apply to temporary sojourners. So, like, you know, this is one of the most, and this is just one of many, many, many examples. But in terms of legal commentators, you know, it's hard to find somebody more respected or well-known than Black, and he didn't think that this applied in this way. So
the number one law treatise of sovereign citizens, by the way. Although chat, God, I didn't realize I didn't turn off my camera. I just DSP max that piece of pizza. Holy shit.
Well, that's what's going to happen. They're going to they're all going to clip that, and they're going to use it for.
They will.
What
they will. Potentially criminal tries.
What's that bullshit people go to sleep to?
Oh, ASMR.
Yeah, it's Sean's Pizza ASMR. Just
yes.
Actually, there's a one of my chatters alerted to me that the last time we collabed, there's a super clean quote from you where you just look at the camera and go, "I like sandwiches," and they're like, "You have to clip that, and that has to be part of the archives of the stream lore going forward." As a
I have all these clips here. Like you have that little where you can set up the video clips thing in Streamer. Have you been able to use that? Okay.
Oh yeah, I've started using it. I've become less of a boomer, and they're requesting Sean sandwiches be a quote. So that's
yes,
it's not my
and
fault.
I forgot to do this before we started the SCOTUS case.
It just don't make no sense.
And then this one's here for you, Ryan. I can give this one to you because it works for all of us.
Hey, Mr. Attorney, look at my finger. Fuck you.
Yes. We love Herman.
That's how the clients feel when they get the bill.
Yes, that's true. So let's keep going here. And they say, even putting the common law to one side, the citizenship's key phrase, subject to the jurisdiction, requires the same result. Why does it require the same result? Why? Well, the word jurisdiction was hardly known to the drafters and ratifiers. Okay.
I'm sure
Congress
they
chose
did
to use
know
an
the word.
established legal term, and the clause must be interpreted in that light.
Oh, Sean, you all right over there, buddy?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm like the last little bit of it here. Anyways. As today's jurisdiction, the contents of a sovereign refers to the power of governing or legislating. Okay.
Oh, come on, guy. Okay.
What?
Well, there's a quote from Ruth Bader Ginsburg where she says, jurisdiction is a word of too many meanings. The idea that the word jurisdiction has only one meaning is asinine. Like personal jurisdiction and subject matter jurisdiction are different. But you know, the fullness of political allegiance and what would be, full jurisdiction where you could be drafted, you owe allegiance to a sovereign in that sense, is different than territorial
or even in civil
jurisdiction.
law. In civil procedure, what's jurisdiction mean?
Yeah. So I think the quote was from it's what's it called? It's Arbal v. YH Corp, which is Justice Ginsburg. She wrote, jurisdiction is a word of too many meanings.
Well,
so
I would just gonna be an asshole and say international shoe defines jurisdiction too.
Yeah. But this is what I mean. Like in every corner of the law, the word jurisdiction has a custom meaning. Now, so the idea that it must be understood to mean the broadest possible thing here
Yes.
is kind of wild when the word jurisdiction means different things in different places often.
Well, moments of training is right. Driving is a commercial activity, says Black's Law. Therefore, I'm not engaged in commerce. And I think that's actually fair. So,
Sean, never encourage the Salvies. You can't, if you encourage the Salvies.
Although I
Sean,
do agree with
if you encourage them,
right.
they're gonna you're in Florida now, Sean.
Yeah,
you're gonna show up. They're gonna want you to be their sovereign lawyer. They're gonna say, go to court and enforce my right to travel.
Yeah, well, I mean, I do think they have I think the valid argument about the right to travel. Well, you could travel in any way, but on a car, it's like we don't do that with any other right.
All right, Sean, Salvies, you heard it here first. Sean's in a new state. He's looking for business. If you want somebody to litigate your right to travel, you look no further. I don't think he's barred in Florida yet, but the time will come.
I'm just saying. Like, to be fair. And it says the authority of the government, the sway of a sovereign power.
Oh, actually, sorry. Can I go on my soapbox for a second here? Because I just found the case that I could get mad about this. So when Ginsburg said it's a word of too many meanings, the word jurisdiction, the examples given were subject matter jurisdiction, the power of a court to hear a case, personal jurisdiction, the power of a court over a person, territorial jurisdiction, the power of a government over a geographic area, which is the kind being asserted in the 14th Amendment, according to Roberts, appellate jurisdiction, jurisdictional versus non-jurisdictional issues, and then other specialized meanings within like narrow areas of the law, because, maritime, administrative, this sort of thing. So territorial jurisdiction was one of at least 6 examples she gave. So if it's only one of 6 examples, how do we know for sure that jurisdiction means that territorial jurisdiction as opposed to some other narrower version of jurisdiction? And again, what does he give us to support that point? Not much. He just kind of says it. It's a word that everybody understood. Okay, well, this is why originalists get so frustrated with Roberts, because Roberts, for the record, again, sorry, I'm on my soapbox. When people like fucking Pisco and like the lefties who get mad about this are like, oh, well, this isn't an originalist decision. No, it's not an originalist decision. He's not doing originalism. He's just saying it. And that is a thing sometimes. The court doesn't always issue originalist decisions. This does not appear to be one. Yeah, the word was hardly unknown to the drafters and ratifiers of the 14th Amendment. No citation. Congress chose to use an established legal term, and the clause must be interpreted in that light. No citation. I'm sorry, I was just scrolled up.
No. You're fine here. Yeah. I was just saying. In the meaning reinforced by the clause territorial focus, referring to the power of the United States to govern those within its territory. Although the way he's going, you could say, well, we can deport him, therefore we have authority over him.
Yeah,
the scope of that power is settled in 1868. Hold on, am I muted? Okay, good.
No, you're good.
Oh, yeah, jurisdict, son. Yeah, my dick.
That's the key argument. If only John Sauer had cited that argument, I think we could have won, gang. The jurisdict son argument. That was the missing piece of the puzzle.
Yes. They go on to say, expounding on general principles, Chief Justice Marshall explained that jurisdiction referred to the full and complete power of a nation within its own territories. So subject to the jurisdiction of the United States.
Well, but hold on.
These people are subject to the full complete power of the nation within its own territories. Like, are you telling me that countries don't have power over people if they leave? Like, they can summon you to return. They can do things.
But also,
this is also an argument that shows you can't tax me if I leave the United States.
Well, but Sean, again, full and complete power.
Yeah.
Justice Thomas agrees that if the country has full and complete power over you, that you get birthright citizenship for your kids. But but if we have full and complete power, can't we draft you?
Yes.
Well, but aren't there temporary people who are here that can't be drafted because they're they don't actually owe allegiance to the United States?
Yeah, we wouldn't draft some guy just visiting.
because he doesn't
really fucking weird.
he doesn't owe allegiance to the country.
Yeah.
So how on earth do we have full and complete power exerted over somebody if we actually don't? In fact, what we have is limited power. We have if they steal something, we could put them in jail, we could deport them, but there are things we can't do because they don't have complete allegiance. This quote, I actually think, is better for my side of the argument.
Our side of the argument. Don't make it sound like me and you are opposed here.
Chat, you might not know this, but Sean secretly loves the Immigrinos.
We love our Somalis. We love our Muslims. I'm handing over Clyde to the Haitians, chat.
Sean's been fattening Clyde up. You guys don't
Put him on
know.
the slow boat to Haiti. Port-au-Prince puppy. Clyde stared at me at the door like, what the fuck are you doing? I love you, Bubba. You're a good boy. Come. He just walked away. He's like, oh, he's looking back at me. He's like, you didn't mean that, did you, fat man?
He knows that you betrayed him. He knows. The nose knows.
Uh-huh. Anyways, you want to come here, bud? Want to come here? Hey. Yep. Come here. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, look at that cutie.
Hold
on.
Look
at that little guy.
Down cable. Oh, hi, Clyde. We need a Clyde break.
Oh, look at that little guy.
Yeah, he has not got a haircut. He needs one because he's starting to die outside when he goes out.
Yeah, that's a lot of fur for Florida.
Oh, it is.
Oh, by the way,
a groomer.
Because Sean is so terrible at grifting, I'm going to have to grift on his behalf. How are you guys not paying for the privilege of this glorious pup? This is the peak content you came here for.
Yes, it's the Clyde tax, chat.
I mean, that's glorious right there.
Oh, it pulled out both ends of my thing. Jeez. I did. I was like, damn. The Clyde tax. The Clyde tax. Okay, hold on here. Where is I gotta put it in the hole. I gotta go by feel. There we go. Nope, that was the wrong one.
What did you unplug?
The headset.
Well, then how can you hear me?
Because if it's not plugged in, it goes to the speakers of the monitor.
Oh, okay, all right.
So hold on here.
Sean, EDW Raptor has some advice. He says, "Put it in the hole, Sean."
Yes, I got it.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
They say all sovereigns, however, were understood to have impliedly waived their jurisdiction when the exercising jurisdiction would degrade the dignity of foreign sovereigns.
Yeah, ambassadors, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, okay. But otherwise, my subjects are still my subjects.
But again, see that this is where this argument loses me. He goes from full and complete power to then ambassadors, but there's no discussion of the difference between somebody who owes full allegiance and could be drafted or charged with treason. Could you charge a tourist with treason? No, because they don't owe allegiance to the country. Yeah. So you can't charge them with treason because an element of treason is violating your allegiance.
Yeah. The German spies who came over in U-boats in World War II. They didn't get charged with treason. They were spies, and we hanged them. Yeah. There was no, are you telling me if that guy if that guy knocked up some shit, let's say they sent over a female spy and she shits out a kid. Well, is that kid a citizen? Are we really going to say that person's a citizen? I mean, are they I don't know, man. That seems a little weird.
Yeah, I think that there's an exception for hostile invading forces, but I don't know if that would apply.
I don't know. Based on this, they're not saying there is one here. So
yeah.
Well, I'm just saying, how would that work? I'll be like, there's that. I wish I found the meme when it happened after the SCOTUS arguments, but it showed Kevin Costner as John Dutton, and it's like, if that Chinese fella born here and pops out of his mom on this dirt, he's citizen just as much as you and me, and you have to accept that. That's real American. It's it was very funny the way it was worded, but I'm like, yeah, that's basically where we're at. And they say every sovereign would hazard his own dignity, after all, if his officials were abroad or made a temporary or local allegiance to a foreign prince.
Yeah.
That's supporting our argument. Yes.
Yeah, and
These people are showing up. We are assuming they have allegiance to us. What do you mean?
Well, but also
these people coming from Guatemala, do they really support the United States?
Again, if you
know Hassan Piker,
if you put the two,
his mom came here, popped him out, and took him back. Who the fuck side is he on?
And if you take the two arguments side by side, to do my sober analytical thing, and you say which one makes more sense, the argument that the 14th Amendment applies to anyone born here with some exceptions, and then they say Indians are an exception, ambassadors are an exception. So they have all these exceptions to the rule, right?
Yes.
The rule that we're setting forth doesn't have these exceptions. The rule is if you're here and you owe political allegiance to the United States, your kids are citizens. Do ambassadors owe political allegiance to the United States? No. No exception necessary. Did Indians who lived in quasi-sovereign tribes owe allegiance to the United States? No. No exception necessary. So their rule requires multiple exceptions. Our rule describes the situation perfectly without the exception. So this talk about the exceptions, all it does is show that the rule that we're positing works better because we don't require these exceptions. They just are natural entailments of the argument.
Yeah, well, this is almost like this is prophetic. You hazard your own dignity when you have people who owe you temporary and local allegiance, and you give them citizenship. It's like, wow, I wonder if they read this and it didn't even occur to them. And they're like, oh, wow, this kind of sounds like everything they're fucking screaming about. Huh. It's very interesting, isn't it? How, like, I didn't see this part yet. Isn't that very interesting in there?
Yeah.
It's
foreshadowing the problem, but then ignoring it.
Yes. Well, we're different.
Mm-hmm.
Heckin' immigrinos. The elements of exception were carefully defined. Still with the United States power were the private individuals of a foreign nation who had spread themselves through our territory as business or caprice may direct. It would be obviously inconvenient and dangerous society would submit the law as a continual infraction if such individuals and merchants were not amenable to the jurisdiction of the country.
But again, it doesn't matter. There is no dispute that if you're here and you're doing business, you're under the country's jurisdiction. The question is, when they use the phrase subject to the jurisdiction thereof, did they mean jurisdiction in that maximally broad sense, or did they mean it in a narrower sense? Of course, someone who's doing business here, if they steal from you, they can go to jail. Like, obviously that's true, but that's besides the point. It's just talking around the issue rather than actually getting to the heart of the question.
Also, this is hilarious here. Mm-hmm. Nor can the foreign sovereign have any motive for wishing such an exception. I don't know. How about people looking to invade? How about enemies of your nation? Would love it if their people could just run around and cause all kinds of problems, and they could go basically diplomatic immunity and nothing could happen to them. Yes. Countries would love this idea. The idea the idea that a man on the Supreme Court said this is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And they say, he continued with respecting to its sojourning subjects who are not employed by the sovereign or engaged in national pursuits. I guarantee you, if you're telling me that an enemy of America wouldn't have loved that, they would have done that if they could. Well, now you're telling me if China could have authority over everybody from China who's here, they wouldn't? They would 100% do it.
And this is just more exceptions, right? Like if you
get more immunity from our laws, yeah.
If you're here and you have a connection to the Chinese government, then now you don't get birthright citizenship because there's another exception.
Yes. Instead, nearly everyone with the territorial boundaries of the United States was amenable to the nation's jurisdiction. Are they really amenable to the jurisdiction? Are they okay with it? Are they going to agree to it?
Well, but again, the word jurisdiction has a lot of meanings, and the whole point of this section was that he was going to explain to us why jurisdiction should be understood to mean a particular maximally broad version of the term. And instead, he just keeps giving us quotes of people saying, yes, there is a broad jurisdiction, but that doesn't say that the people in the 14th meant to use it in that way. He's just saying it can be used in that way. But
I'm using it in the way I think it's meant to be.
Yeah. No one's disputing that it can be used in that way. The question is, was it used in that way?
Yes. As we keep going here, so the ordinary legal meaning of the text of the clause thus neatly captures the common law rule with its broad reach and narrow exceptions.
I mean,
those narrow exceptions are fucking huge.
I don't think he proved that point at all.
Yeah. Well, everybody but Indians. That's a big fucking exception.
But this is the most important part of the whole case, and I don't think he did either. I don't think he got there.
No.
But obviously, I'm biased in this, but I don't think he got there.
Yeah, and I think it's absolutely ridiculous. But like I said, he was. I need to screenshot this because it is actually pretty good here. He was super prophetic. He knew what was going to happen, and God, I hate when Snagit. I don't know if you ever use Snagit for screen capturing, but it's like it can be annoying as hell some days. Okay, let's see.
I do basic bitch snipping. Snipping.
Snagit is an awesome tool. Shout out to 2.0 for helping me find it. Because she uses it. And it says these same groups included by Jus Soli were introduced and excluded by the conventional understanding of jurisdiction. Excluded by both were the children of foreign ministers and Indian tribes over whom the U.S. had ceded a part of its territorial jurisdiction to preserve its relationship with a foreign sovereign or quasi-sovereign. Well, now you're like he's acknowledging, like, look, they really weren't independent states.
No,
we just didn't want the dirty fucking Indians to get citizenship. That's why. No inter-sovereign concerns apply to the children born of parents unlawfully or temporarily present in the United States. Well, based on that means a spy could. They're unlawfully here.
Wait, but of course there are. Like, if you. If a country has a rule that there can be no dual citizens, which meant some countries have rules like this, like there's no dual citizenship.
I think it's a great idea,
right? And but let's say a country has that rule. Let's say I don't know, Uruguay has the rule no dual citizens, and then Uruguay, their parents come here on vacation. The mom has a kid. Now the kid's a U.S. citizen. Is there no such inter-sovereign concerns that apply to the children born of parents who are temporarily in the United States from Uruguay under that fact pattern? I feel like there is an inter-sovereign concern. The Uruguay would like the kid to be an Uruguayan, but now the kid's a dual citizen, which is against the laws of Uruguay in my hypothetical. So I don't.
Uruguay's a shitty country. Nobody's going to want to live there. They'll say.
There you go. But I actually I think this is just.
It is
logical. This doesn't follow.
This is a Sean to your argument. No foreign sovereign would have any motive for wishing them outside this nation's authority. If I send in a spy, are you kidding me? Like the Russians sent in husband and wife teams to get married, have kids, and settle down and be spies, deep cover operatives. Are you telling me that no nation would have any motive? There's a lot of fucking motives out there. Espionage is a massive one.
Seems like there could be a ton, yeah.
Yeah, there's all kinds of things.
By the way, I'm not shitting on Uruguay. It was just the first country that came to mind for whatever
You
reason.
are gay. It even says it in the name. And they say those children are subject to jurisdiction in the United States. They satisfy both the elements. They are born in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof. Okay. Our precedent.
Boy, that's it. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, all you can do is really go back to Wong Kim Ark.
Yeah, they're relying very heavily on Wong Kim Ark.
Because I get it. That's all you got. You run with what you got.
I know not everybody's looked at all this yet, but if you compare this to what Justice Thomas wrote, Justice
Okay.
Thomas
Well, here's how far Robert gets. We get down to blah 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 blah. Here you go. Here's how it ends. Citizenship then and now was the right to have rights. To freely participate in our political community.
Okay.
The framers of the 14th Amendment extended that promise to every freeborn person in this land. We keep that promise today.
Yeah, and look, Senator Trumbull is there. If you're doing the historical analysis of the the time of the 14th Amendment,
yes,
Senator Trumbull is the best site on the Roberts side of the aisle.
Yeah, and you know what?
That is the correct citation for Roberts.
And the left are now originalists today. They are. You know, they like to mock people. Like, you guys are originalists today, I guess. But yes, it's the right to have rights. Okay, is that really like, okay? Fine. But anyways, 31 pages. Well, let's get down to. Well, we're not going through all these brave women. Brave women.
Well, so we got to talk about fork in the road here, because Justice Thomas's work is is impressive.
Yeah. So here we go.
We're never going to read all of it. It's so long.
Yeah, but here we go. Starting page 62. And we just look at what's getting cited here. All kinds of similar things he's citing. You know, he's got citations everywhere. And, you know, Thomas goes on and on and on and on and on and on, Chad. I'm going on and on and on. I got to stop and reset my mouse. That's how far we're going right now.
Yeah, he goes on
and on and on.
Is it 91, 94 pages, something like that?
Yes, 91 pages. And then Samuel Alito goes on and 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 on Batman. And then Justice Gorsuch, Neil just wipes it out. He just does 2 pages at the end.
We definitely should, like, the Gorsuch is definitely worth reading. Kavanaugh's as well, but there's there's a part of Justice Thomas's. If you give me a second, I want to find it.
Well, tell me where it's at. I can.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to find it.
You know, if he says fuck all these people,
here we go. It's on page 92.
Tell me the words.
The executive branch understood the citizenship. That's probably not good.
I can do that.
Understood. There we go.
Oh, that's why executive branch understood.
There you go.
Go there.
Page 92.
Oh, it did bring us there. Okay.
It's on the bottom. Yeah. So
there we go.
Thomas goes, the executive branch understood the citizenship clause. This is the 14th Amendment, to exclude the children of temporary visitors. And if you know my content, you know I've said the evidence against temporary visitors getting birthright citizenship for their kids is overwhelming. So look at this, the amount of evidence that he gives compared to the amount of evidence that Roberts gave, right? What does he say?
The word jurisdiction from the Attorney General of President Grant. Remember, President Grant beat those heckin' Confederates and freed the slaves. The word jurisdiction must be understood to mean absolute or complete jurisdiction, such as the United States had over its citizens before the adoption of this amendment.
Okay, so let's call that a tie. They had one Attorney General. We have one Attorney General. Okay, maybe it washes out. Maybe Thomas is done. But no, it makes clear it excludes aliens over whom the United States only had a limited jurisdiction, even if they were born here. So very, very clear. But then he goes down.
Also, I did want to just bring this up because I know some people were confused about some things. Gorsuch co-signs this, guys. If you guys were not understanding that.
Yeah. Gorsuch, he wrote
this is not just Clarence. This isn't Uncle Clarence, playing a piano like a kid out in the rain. To quote the Butthole Surfers. Justice Thomas, with whom Gorsuch joins dissenting. That is a 100% I am buying in on this. I fully support this at 100% because you'd only partially agree to like whatever Thomas talked about. Gorsuch is all in on this. So, yeah, sorry. Well,
so yeah, I mean, if Gorsuch and Thomas being like as good as justices as you could get. But so then on page 93, where am I? 93, where it says across administrations. Now, if you look at the breadth of evidence that Thomas provides that compared to what Roberts provide. Okay, he has a letter from Secretary of State Bayard, which says that if somebody is domiciled here, that then their kids get jurisdiction, but they're not subject to the jurisdiction if they're just born here temporarily. A child born in this country to a foreign father, when taken by his father abroad, acquires the father's domicile and nationality. This is a second Secretary of State, whose name I'm not going to even try to pronounce. Whatever.
Frelinghuysen.
I can never pronounce that one. And then he goes down and says, oh, let's see, is there more evidence that people and this is all after, immediately after the 14th Amendment. Joseph Speck was denied citizenship when his Swiss parents had him here and then took him home. And President Hayes, acting Secretary of State, denied him citizenship. What about Ludwig Hausting?
You know, he had been denied, even though he had been able. Hold on, Ryan. I was going to say, Stewart denied his claim because his status as well as his domicile, according to well-understood principles of international municipal law, follows that of the father until the boy attains his majority. So yeah, what about the common law? What about common law, Johnny? Well, not this common law.
Yeah. Hausting, his parents were Saxon subjects temporarily in the United States, says the Secretary of State. President Cleveland's Secretary of State explained in 1885 that Hausting was not constitutionally entitled to citizenship because their parents were not domiciled here. He remained subject to a foreign power, the language of the 1866 law, which was incorporated into the 14th Amendment that Roberts glossed over. Richard Greiser was denied citizenship after being born in the United States to parents domiciled in Germany. He was born in Ohio in 1867, says Thomas Bayard, the Secretary of State. His father was domiciled in Germany, and according to President Cleveland's Secretary of State, Thomas Bayard, Greiser therefore was on his birth subject to a foreign power and not subject to the jurisdiction of the United States. Another historic example. But it keeps going. Like, it just keeps going.
Another one.
Well, this is
another one.
When I was saying, like, there's endless evidence that that people at the time of the enactment of the 14th Amendment did not believe that it applied to people who were here temporarily. This is what I mean. It's an endless recitation. Frederick de Bowery, another case of somebody who was here temporarily. I don't know this. This is not one I cite as often, so I'm not as familiar with it. But he was born in the city of New York. His parents were temporarily resident, returned to Europe a few years later. He remained in Europe, and Secretary Bayard concluded that his passport should be refused because he was not a citizen. And then Mary Devereaux, who was
you cited this one before.
Yeah, we've talked about this one before. She was in a boat outside of Manhattan.
On a boat.
And her child was born inside the city because the people were not monsters. They let her in. But ultimately, it was determined that she was not going to be allowed into the country, and they sent her and the child home. And President Harrison's administration denied the baby citizenship, saying, I am therefore of the opinion that the child in controversy, born during the temporary removal of the mother from the importing vessel to a lying in hospital for her own comfort, pending further examination as to whether she belongs to the prohibited class of immigrants, did not become, by reason of its birth under such circumstances, an American citizen. So she was waiting for an immigration determination, a lot like an asylum seeker would. They let her use the hospital. That does not mean the child had birthright citizenship. Again,
yes.
Like the evidence that can be mustered here is lengthy, and if you compare, I'm not saying you have to be. Yeah, Tim Tams. This is prior to Wong Kim Ark.
This is prior to Wong Kim Ark, but remember, Wong Kim Ark's parents lived here in America intentionally and did everything they could, but they were never going to be citizens because of the laws. Like, they made an effort to live here. They weren't visiting. They weren't just broing out. They were about it and trying to live here in America.
And by the way, there are two separate strands of argument here that are getting tangled. It's a good question, but the first question is, what is the original meaning of the 14th Amendment? And then the second question is, how do you square that with existing precedent, which is wonka mark? As to the first question, what is the original meaning? I'm looking at the sources that are closest in time to the 14th Amendment being ratified. And these are all sources that are right around that time period, immediately afterwards. And the country said, no, we don't give birthright citizenship to people who are here temporarily. So that's good evidence that the original meaning did not include people who are here temporarily. And if you go back and you compare the evidence that Thomas gives for this point to the evidence Roberts gives for the contrary point, you'll see that Thomas has way more evidence on his side than Roberts did. And that is the sort of thing that you should think about when you're deciding what the original meaning is. Now, obviously, look, it's a 5-4. It came out the other way. The law is the law. But this is why I thought this was the strongest argument, because the historic evidence there's a lot of it. It's overwhelming.
Yeah, it's they say these children were not, and Thomas says they weren't born to diplomats. They were not part of invading armies or Indian tribes. And they were all denied citizenship under the Citizenship Clause by those in a better position to know its original meaning than we are today. This is even the most expansive interpretation ultimately denied citizenship to a child born here but domiciled abroad.
And the point you just read is so critical. Yeah. If the government, right after they passed the 14th Amendment, didn't think it applied to people who were here temporarily, why do you think sitting here today you know better what it meant? Like, because of things that happened in 1940? That's why the original meaning is decided by what people did in the 1900s? That doesn't make any sense. So the critical part of looking at the examples of what the government actually did in this time period is to show that at this time, the people who were very close to the original meaning understood it as allowing for the exclusion of birthright citizenship for people who were here temporarily. I think we lost Sean. Either that chat, or he's getting another piece of pizza.
No, I'm here. Sorry.
Just double checking.
It's trying to cough there and sneeze. Yes, voluminous, almost. Yes. You could argue it's voluminous proof. All kinds of information there. So
do you, I don't think.
Yeah, what about that congressional record? Well, that apparently doesn't work here either. So,
it goes
different. It's different, says Johnny Roberts.
And the congressional record, like, Roberts has quotes, but so does Thomas. Like, you can quote the congressional record both ways. And I think you need to be honest about that. There were people in Congress who thought the 14th meant what the majority believes. And there's people in Congress who meant what Justice Thomas believes. But it's certainly not one-sided. There's certainly both. Do we want to do Kavanaugh or Gorsuch, or what do you want to do?
I mean, we can do. Well, I mean, like, Gorsuch is fully bought in on this one.
He is. The interesting thing about Gorsuch is really short, so maybe we should do Gorsuch.
We can do Gorsuch
because it dovetails well with what I was just saying.
Yes,
Gorsuch. Go. Let me find it.
Yeah, I'm going all. Well, Gorsuch is only 2 pages.
Yeah,
but yes, so not only did he do that 91-page behemoth, but he also joined in on the rest of this.
Yeah, it's page.
He did his own little thing too.
It's all the way at the end. Oh, you got it. Okay.
It's easy. The last 2 pages.
The reason I want to do Gorsuch now is because earlier the doomers were saying, "What can we do? What can we do? What can we do?" I think Gorsuch and Kavanaugh, like, Thomas wrote the thesis. Thomas wrote 90 pages. If you want to understand the argument against modern birthright citizenship, Justice Thomas gave you, the whole kit and caboodle. Read it. He gives you everything. Kavanaugh and Gorsuch drop breadcrumbs about what litigation strategy could be successful in the future. What would they be sensitive to? So when we read Kavanaugh and Gorsuch, we should be reading it in terms of what can we pick up what they're putting down? what are the things that they're signaling might be useful for future litigants or for a future more narrowly tailored law that would attempt to find this issue about people who are here temporarily and make some hay out of it.
Yeah, and guys, I know you guys have all made super chat stuff here, but just this is catching important. NW Apvid says, or Northwest Vapid, I'm not sure, says, what's the meaning of Gorsuch joining Thomas? He's saying, I co-signed everything he's saying. I fully agree with him.
Mm-hmm.
If he didn't, he could have dissented on his own separately. But he did that, and then he's doing this. So he's touching on something else. Do they generally not agree? No, they agree a lot of times. What is the added value here? It's just everything. I agree with everything he said.
And also, if you're an originalist, the three, I would say, like at least most consistently articulate originalists are obviously Thomas, Gorsuch, and Barrett, though she did co-sign a fairly non-originalist opinion today, but that's another topic. So when you see Thomas and Gorsuch agreeing on something, that's normally a good sign that you might want to agree with it too.
So here we go.
I know you've been coughing. Do you want me to take over reading a little bit, or
if you want to, that's fine. I'll just highlight.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
I'm happy to give your throat a little break because I know you've been.
Give my throat. It's like he'll take over.
You're like coughing up a lung, and I'm sitting here like, yes, Sean, read to me. Like I feel like a dick. Okay. At the heart of today's dispute lies two competing views of the 14th Amendment's citizenship clause. On one account, the clause incorporated the English common law rule of jus soli, literally the right of the soil. Roberts explained that above. That rule, developed in feudal times, had more to do with being a subject than a citizen. My God, Sean, some really smart lawyer was just pointing that out earlier today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Justice Gorsuch, God bless him, has also censored for that point. It was based on the notion that a man owed personal service to the Lord of the soil, the same as his master owed it to the king, and it was born with the child and only ended in the grave. On the other account, the clause adopted a distinctly American settler's view of citizenship, one that promises the full dignity and glory of American citizenship to any child born in this country, to parents who have made this nation their permanent home, regardless of their race, religion, or national origin. Well, which one sounds more American to you? Perpetual servitude or the glories of American citizenship? Tough call. I don't know, yes. Sean.
I know.
To my eye, the latter understanding better accords with the clause's original public meaning, and that leads me to join Justice Thomas's dissent. Justice Gorsuch, by the way, is a really wonderful writer. Like that was so succinct and clear. And keep in mind, Justice Thomas just did 91 pages of evidence. Justice Gorsuch is not trying to provide evidence. He co-signed all the evidence. He's trying to give you a easy to digest summary that puts it in narrative form that you can understand. I write only to emphasize a few points. First, the understanding Justice Thomas and I share of the Citizenship Clause is consistent with this court's holding in Wong Kim Ark. That case involved parents born in China who made their home in this country lawfully. They were here legally, even though they never became naturalized citizens, and statutes then in effect made that impossible. The question the court faced was whether the parent's child born in this country was himself a citizen. The government argued that the child was not a citizen because his parents were not. This court rightly rejected the government's position. Again, what Gorsuch is pointing out here is that his reasoning is not inconsistent with Wong Kim Ark. He's saying his reasoning is consistent with Wong Kim Ark, and Wong Kim Ark doesn't disturb it at all. Throughout history, many other nations have restricted citizenship by birth to the children of citizens. See, okay, there's the citation. But the American settlers' view of citizenship, reflected in the Citizenship Clause of the 14th Amendment, is not so parsimonious. What matters isn't whether a child's parents are citizens. What matters is whether they, and by law, their child at birth, have made this place their home and are thus domiciled within the United States. So again,
Well, that becomes an issue of if I sneak in, and I've been living here for 10 years.
yeah, and this is the point, right? Like you could be here illegally and be domiciled here. And this is why I was saying earlier, the legal point is the legal versus illegal distinction is really hard. But if you pick up the breadcrumbs that Justice Gorsuch is laying down here, well, if you're only here temporarily, are you domiciled here? Doesn't seem like you are. Justice Gorsuch seems like he'd be sensitive to an argument like that. Second, respondents choose to pursue a facial challenge to the executive order at issue in this case and secured below a preliminary injunction barring every one of the order's potential applications. So for those of you who don't know, a facial challenge means you're not challenging the law as applied to specific people. You're saying the
entire thing.
Yeah, the entire thing should be struck down. Under this court's precedents, we can sustain that injunction only if no set of circumstances exists in which the order may be applied lawfully. That is a demanding standard, and it is not met here. Justice Gorsuch's point, again, remember I said, what are the breadcrumbs he's putting down? If you're here temporarily, maybe it would apply to you legally. Among other things, the executive order holds that children born to temporary visitors in this country, whether here lawfully or unlawfully, are not citizens. And at least to that extent, the order is consistent with the Citizenship Clause as Justice Thomas and I read it. By definition, temporary visitors to this country do not choose to make a permanent home here, and their children thus cannot claim the privilege of citizenship. Because the executive order is lawful, at least to this extent, to the temporary point, respondents' facial challenge must fail. Why did Justice Gorsuch feel the need to write this? He already co-signed what Justice Thomas wrote. He didn't provide additional evidence. What he's clarifying is, if you're going to try again, how should you do it?
Yes.
And he's pointing out to the Trump administration, but probably beyond that. This could be the Vance, the Rubio administration, administrations down the road. If you want to take another shot at this, target people who are here temporarily. That's the thing that I agree with. He's letting you know what he thinks about this issue. And now that you know, in the future, maybe Sean, we write a law that says something like, if you are committing immigration fraud, you are by definition here temporarily because you are subject to removal the second we find you, and therefore do not get birthright citizenship for your children. Very narrow, a very narrow law that would be targeted straight at down the middle of what Justice Gorsuch is talking about, and see what Justice Gorsuch would say about that. Because I think he'd say that's constitutional in a second. In a heartbeat, he'd say it.
And maybe that might, we might reopen an issue, especially after a bunch of crap happens in the meantime.
Yeah, and this is how, by the way, in constitutional litigation, you take the L. It's an L. I'm not saying it's not an L, but then you look for the breadcrumbs, and then you create a legal strategy that uses those breadcrumbs, and you carry the fight forward.
Well, so Kavanaugh said that recently about the Second Amendment cases, like within a term or two, we will revisit this. And it sounds like they're going forward. So, but NW Appid said, I understand, but you seem to give it added value. Well, I was just trying to show that Gorsuch's just little thing here, these little 2 pages aren't really like what you should be looking at. Literally, I was just pointing out, like, it's a big deal. It wasn't just like, 6, it wasn't this 5-4, even if it's 6-3. It wasn't even 6-3 where Gorsuch just kind of like, I'm just putting my toe in the water. No, Gorsuch dove in head first. And like, that's more of what I'm hammering on. 3 of them are 100% in the camp of this is bullshit. Kavanaugh's kind of there. And then that just shows you this is a lot closer than I thought it was going to be.
Well, I guarantee you that right now, Amy Swearer and people at the DOJ and John Sauer and Trump's legal team are poring over this decision, pointing out the same things that I'm pointing out to you guys tonight, which is What are the breadcrumbs? What is the strategy? How can we use it's an L, you take the L, but how can you use these breadcrumbs to create a legal strategy that will carry you forward in the next 5-10 years? What does it look like? That's how lawyers think about these things. You do take the L, but then you have to carry forward.
Yeah, we got to figure it out.
All right. So do you want to do Kavanaugh? Because
we can.
Or do you want to tap out and do some super chats? Because
I don't know what we could do. I mean, it's getting to 11:15. I don't know how late you got to go, so I don't want to.
My sleep schedule is so fucked up right now. It's like a fucking joke. If you want me, I could just summarize Kavanaugh. If you want to do,
if you want to summarize Kavanaugh, you can. Yeah, so, that'd be better.
Here's the TLDR of Kavanaugh. Kavanaugh thinks that for birthright citizenship, there's both the 14th Amendment and then there's a law that says the exact same thing the 14th Amendment says, but the law was passed way, way later in the 1900s. Kavanaugh thinks the law says exactly what the majority thinks it says because it was passed later, so the original analysis is different. So Kavanaugh thinks that President Trump's executive order is illegal under the law, but Kavanaugh agrees with Alito and Gorsuch and Thomas about what the Constitution requires. So what Kavanaugh said is change the law and come back to court and I'll agree with you. So in terms of the breadcrumbs, again, Kavanaugh agrees that the Constitution does not give birthright citizenship to people who are here temporarily, but he wants you to change a law. So this is, again, what are the breadcrumbs? They're saying go to Congress, get a law passed, and then see if you can do it in a way that will lure Barrett or Roberts over to your side. And that's the strategy people are working on right now.
Yes. So there, and I'm just scared of getting more advice from Stacey or Steps. Guys, shut up. I was trying to see here what you guys are saying. Yes. Happy 4th, we have no country. I mean, if you feel like, okay, great. I ain't got time to do that. I ain't got time to doom. I ain't got time to fucking doom, chat. Oh, I ain't got time to doom.
It just also the doomerism gets so boring. You know what I mean?
Okay, fine. Let's start. Are you gonna start killing everybody? Because that's the only other option. So if you're gonna do it, get to fucking work, and maybe I'll tag in after a while. But you better start doing it.
Well, but it's also I don't know, man. It's something about today's day and age where it's every time anything happens, and this is my criticism of the left, right? They'll say oh my God, we need to pack the court, we need to burn it all down because a thing happened I don't like, right? It's just yeah, man, a thing happened you don't like, but we've lost fights before, we'll lose fights in the future. That doesn't mean we're not going to win some too. So I don't the problem with that kind of accelerationism and doomerism is that it justifies.
That's getting clipped. That's fine. And if whoever clips that and tries to use it against me, I'll point out how big a lying, cock-sucking, AIDS-riddled faggot they are. That's we'll clip this. Then you fucking crush them like a bug. What are the Clippers gonna think? Fuck fucking Clippers. They can all suck my dick. You guys can't be what are the Clippers gonna do? They could fuck themselves.
Speaking of Clippers, I feel like that's another good clip for my. I got to build my media library. The Clippers, that's a good one. We'll add that to the pot.
Except for Alyssa.
Yes. Now, Sean, I know that you're a little under the weather, but we do.
We got to knock these out. The people spoke.
The people spoke.
Yes, I hate Yankees. 3655 $5 says. The Supreme Court made its decision. I'll let them enforce it. Andrew Jackson. I agree. Trump could do his thing. We'll find out. Keopathic says, I was Pat posting IRL in the ghetto with my Glock. Yes. Still embarrassing and cringe that I did it, but
look, man,
left it up.
It is what it is.
Torgo the White says, at least they said they're taking an AR-15 ban case. Yes.
Yeah.
Viramontes v. Cook County is going, and it's going to be challenging AR-15 bans. Also, Grant out of Connecticut. So, Maybe we'll see something. Maybe they'll sell us out. Who knows?
But look, there have been tons of W's coming out of this court.
Yes.
So, like, yeah, there's going to be some wins, and there's been wins this week. You know, we could cover the trans case. We could cover, you know, slaughter and executive power. There's been big wins this week.
Mm-hmm. Yes. EDW Raptor. Well, this is for yours, Ryan. You should actually read this one because this probably does need to get clipped.
Hey guys, you like tea? Try Dragon's Treasure Tea and use code CRIMINAL on your next purchase to save 10%.
At thedragonstreasure.com.
Yeah.
Don't cope, chat.
Chapingro, thank you for the support, my friend. Always appreciate you supporting the stream and enjoy the emotes. And you know, make sure that you throw up some fleeced knees and some piss cries for the doomers.
Jefferson Post for $2 says, "Will we see creative laws like the Roe versus Wade era?" Probably.
Yeah, we will. We absolutely will. It's going to be harder because with Roe v. Wade, you could do it at the state level and you have to do it here at the federal level. So it's harder to be creative. But the example I gave earlier, pass a law that creates penalties for people who are engaged in fraudulent birth tourism and make one of those penalties that their kids don't get citizenship, and then see if that makes its way back up to the court. Like stuff like that, you could try.
Yes. And then Mr. Squiggle's been a member for 45 months. Damn. I'm going all the way back, chat. The 2022 says N.
Oh. Well, he's clearly spelling out well, okay.
Yeah.
The evidence
Amateur
might start mounting.
Iconoclast has been here for 30 months. Says today's show is sponsored by the letter I. Terabus, who's been a member for 4 months, says today's show is sponsored by the letter G. Kill Billy 123. I told you I'd bring this up. I don't bring them up till the end because we're too busy talking and grooving. For $5, says bring on this dumbass clown that can't pronounce nuclear. How do you say it? Oh,
I pronounce it like this. Fuck you, Kill Billy, bribe my friend Sean, you dumb fuck. That's how I pronounce it, Sean.
But do you say nuclear?
I think I probably do.
Oh, you're like nuclear? Homer.
Yeah,
yeah.
I'll do a Homer thing.
Yeah, no, that when he's on the sub, it's like, it's nuclear. It's certainly a choice. Hey, Ryan, how's month 4 of the 3-week war with Iran going, fatty?
Yeah.
Okay. Foxwood for $5 says, take the L and ask more question Birthright Citizenship and Fable AI release is balance.
I'm not sure I follow that.
Yeah. Maybe it'll help us figure out a plan. Accountant Steve, 23 for $5. Good to see you, man. Says, can we legally stop all migration, legal and illegal, for females now? Citing national security. I mean, there's no pregnancy discrimination for non-citizens there.
This was Andrew Branca's idea. He said put a visa ban on, I think he said all pregnant women, like flat stop.
Yeah.
But like this goes to Jefferson's point about like I think this one would be very bad for the economy and probably unpopular as a result. But I think like coming up with creative
bad for
laws,
the economy. That sounds like that David Beer guy that's out there from the Cato Institute. America's not an economic zone. It's bad for the economy. I don't fucking care. Like, you know, we're not a business.
There's a difference between that and saying like, okay, we're not going to have like people like going to Disneyland anymore, so the whole thing fucking shuts down.
Well, I know, but they just don't get knocked up before you come.
Well,
I said,
but your chatter said no women are allowed to enter. You don't think that would fuck up tourism?
Yeah, the hoes here would get a lot of fucking business.
Yeah, Sean's like it would spur on the classic American interest.
The whores.
Yeah.
And then and then one of their parents would be an American, so it makes sense that they're citizens. They got some allegiance.
Sean's like, look, guys, I've got a really great prostitution stimulus plan.
That's how I think it'll work.
Good stuff.
Yeah, don't get knocked up before you come. Jesus.
Nice. Well played.
Yes, very well played. But also, I just think there's the other option too. You got Conor McGregor sitting at O'Hare or Kennedy Airport. You even get John Jones. John Bones Jones loves hitting fucking women. Give him a little bit of coke and just let him take them women and just fucking bow with his fucking kick right to the gut. We'll make sure they don't have pregnancies.
Did he did he actually hit women? I know he's
got a history. He's got a history of a lot of shit.
He had so much fucked up stuff happening that whenever anyone says he did something, I'm always like, yeah, probably, but I don't know.
Yes. Yeah, Ray Lewis with the comeback. No, Ray Rice. Ray Rice, sir. Get him right. Ray Lewis stabbed a man and hid the knife and got his buddy to take the fall for a while. Mm-hmm. Don't confuse the two, sir. All right. Objective Gestalt says, is it a bit striking when you consider how uncommon jus soli is globally? Yeah, I mean, but once again, though, you have to be careful. The rest of the world doesn't do it. They don't do a lot of things that we do. Well, it's not a good argument sometimes.
Well, what's really interesting about this, and this is not this is a policy argument, not a legal argument. Yeah. But we got, according to the majority, jus soli from England and the English common law. But England abandoned jus soli because it proved to be unworkable. Yeah. So as a matter of policy, even the countries that invented it have abandoned it because it doesn't work. So it definitely doesn't work as a matter of policy. The question is legally, what can we do about that? Sorry, I stopped talking and then realized that I abandoned Sean to his coughing.
But no, I mean, we have to be careful, though, because a lot of countries will say free speech is unworkable, too. We have to be careful.
Yeah, but they're fucking wrong, and we're based.
Yeah, I know, but, I can see Ketanji Brown Jackson going, well, technically, they all can't make Second Amendment work, so I guess no more guns.
Well, this is what I mean. It's not a legal argument. Yeah. It's a policy.
It's an argument that goes both ways.
Yeah.
Fair Frozen 55 says they'll probably crap all over the Second Amendment again with the new cases they picked up. They keep saying Bruin is bad one way or another. I mean, I don't know. As I kept saying, I don't know if I trust Amy Coney Barrett to do the right thing. You can be on the Third Circuit and say, maybe felons can't own machine guns. You can hypothesize about all kinds of shit till you're the person standing at the top of the mountain and you have to make that decision. I don't know if they're going to do it. And as I said before, even 9 Clarence Thomas is on the Supreme Court. We're not getting untaxed machine guns, guys. So I mean, I don't know how we're going to do.
Here's the thing. Barrett and Roberts co-signed on Bruin.
They did, but everybody wants to be, as the saying goes, I learned many moons ago, everyone wants to be a gangster until it's time to do gangster shit. So I mean, you can say I'm all for people owning Laheckin guns, and it's the Laheckin guns in question. They're like, well, I don't know about that.
Yeah, I actually think on something like that, Roberts is more of a risk than Barrett is.
Well, they're both a risk. They're both a risk. Jefferson says maybe expand U.S. tax liability to anchor parents. I mean, I just think we should tax all remittances out of America.
That's really fucking funny.
I mean, we basically make it illegal.
Jefferson, that's so fucking smart. I didn't think if I understand Jefferson correctly, what he's saying is we pass a law that says if you come here and do birth tourism like these Chinese companies do, then we claim the right to tax the money that the parents are using in China to support their kid.
Yeah, but Harry, okay, fine, come get I live in the Tangent Industrial Mining Concern, and I'm the guy who runs the factory.
No.
Where they make the rubber dog shit.
But the people who are doing birth tourism aren't broke. There's two different strands, right? There's some who do the border hopping version, but some of them are paying $20,000, $30,000.
Yeah, but how are you gonna start taxing assets in China though?
Well,
because the Chinese government's not gonna be like, oh yes, Mr. IRS man, come in and
it's going to be an uphill fight, but then if the kid comes back and it's like, hey, I'm a U.S. citizen now, you're like, great, here's your tax bill.
Yeah, see, I don't know that. No, I don't think I love that. And it's when I get my passport, it's on layaway.
Yeah, come to the office, bring your checkbook, and this is the kind of creative thinking we need to have. I'm not saying I'm not sure it would work.
No, it is a good idea.
It's creative thinking. I like this idea.
I mean, it's not a bad idea. I love it, but it's just I don't see that working. Looky Dar says, I want Mario, Ryan, and Kurt all on a panel.
Base,
Well,
let's
I
do
might
it.
try to set something up there. I saw you were watching, you reviewed a Kurt video.
Yeah,
a day or two ago.
Kurt had a really good video recently about
Mhm.
like basically this premise that the left wants a limited court is all fucking nonsense. The left wants a maximally powerful court. They just want a different maximally powerful court.
Yes.
He had a great video.
Mhm.
And like I knew I was going to agree with most of what he said a few seconds in when he's like, basically the video starts. He's like, I'm going to be shitting on Wickard v. Filber in this video. And I'm like, yes. Okay, we're this is going to be a good one. So I was psyched about it.
Yes. Jefferson Post says this just means sharpening arguments for Barrett.
Exactly. You need to figure out out the arguments that will peel off either Roberts or Barrett, and then you need to construct law and policy that will allow you to laser focus don't go broad, laser focus on getting Barrett or Roberts' vote. And if you can pull that off, that's the way forward.
And then I see Freely now. It's been a member for 17 months. Thank you. Says he's protecting the court by stopping the packing. It's not stopping the packing. They still want to pack the court.
Somehow the court ruling against Trump is evidence of Trump's corruption. Like they're
well,
insane.
no, for them, their argument now is, well, it was almost too much. It was too close. It should have been 9-0.
It should have been 9-0.
Yes.
Imagine believing you're entitled to a 9-0.
Yes.
Like fuck. But by the way, if that sounds crazy to you, if they're like, oh my God, it should have been a 9-0, we got to pack the court. If you're one of the doomers who sit in chat being like, oh fuck, they ruled against us, we got to pack the court. You don't sound any less stupid. I'm just saying it. Like you dust yourself off, be a fucking man about it, find a way forward.
Yeah. We'll figure something out, chat. And then my listening library YouTube. Okay.
Yeah.
It says Kavanaugh for $4.99. Said Kavanaugh said that it should be tried to the House/Senate. Could they win it in your opinion?
If they wrote they'd have to do two things. They'd have to create a law that would satisfy Kavanaugh, but the law would have to be appealing to Roberts or Barrett as well. So you'd have to find a law that would thread the needle and get back to the court in a few years and be something that Justice Barrett or Roberts would latch hold on. Unfortunately, neither Roberts didn't write that thorough an opinion, so it's hard to get a read on him exactly. So you might have better luck targeting Barrett because she's a little bit more consistent with her jurisprudence. Roberts is a bit more political. It's hard to target him because he kind of does things for reasons that are outside the papers.
Yes, he does things what he thinks is doing what's best.
Yeah.
Jefferson Post for $2 says, I associate Roberts with that empty New London lot. Roberts was not Chief Justice when Kelo was argued and decided. That was a Rehnquist decision. And the funny thing was on that, and guys, if you don't know what it is, Kelo versus the city of New London, that was where Pfizer said, we want to build a big office park. And the city started eminent domaining homes. And they came up to Suzette Kelo's house and they said, we want to take it. And she said, no, eminent domain can't be used for private purposes. And the Supreme Court actually said, yes, it could. And you know who said that it was okay to do that? Guy named John Paul Stevens, a guy named Anthony Kennedy, a guy named David Souter, a woman named Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and a guy named Stephen Breyer. Yes, the Democrat wing of the Supreme Court said you could use eminent domain to support private interest. Isn't that a little weird? And who defended Suzette Kelo, that brave woman?
And by the way,
a lady named Sandra Day O'Connor, a guy named William Rehnquist, a guy named Antonin Scalia, and then a strapping young lad who went to Yale Law School. You may have heard of him before. From Pinpoint, Georgia. And he did his undergrad fighting out of College of the Holy Cross in Worcester, Massachusetts. Clarence Thomas. Sorry, chat. We were getting like it's important. Yeah.
Getting psyched here.
Yes, you got to. Yes, fighting out of the red corner. But yes, if you guys didn't know, yeah, that was a very weird decision. And it was funny when I was in law school. The law professor or con law professor, like, she had to explain why that was okay, and she really struggled on that one.
Yeah,
To
and by
explain
the
why that
way,
was okay.
if the fucking lunatics who are arguing for court packing on the left try to tell you that there's been no norm violations, when you on their side, when you were listing out the justices who picked it, Kennedy and Souter were technically nominated by conservative presidents, but they were nominated because post Bork they couldn't get a real originalist on the court. So we ended up with these kind of like swing vote conservatives who side with the
Souter
liberals.
was even worse, though. He's like, I was a fucking Democrat all along. Fuck you guys.
Yeah. And but why did we have such weak picks? It was because post Bork we couldn't get an originalist on the court.
Yes, Bork spoke his mind and they hated him for it.
Bork.
He told the truth. And he was punished for it. Other than Learned Hand, probably the smartest and most adept jurist to never sit on the Supreme Court. Widely believed, aside from Learned Hand.
What a name, by the way. How come people don't refer to me as Learned Hand?
Well, I mean, everything was better back in the day. If you ever read the letters, as like, or if you watch the Civil War series, when these guys are like reading the letters that these dudes are sitting there in the pouring rain, writing to their wives, and it's these people with like 6th grade educations, and they're writing letters, and it's like, oh my god, it sounds like they're using a thesaurus.
Yeah,
it makes us sound like just drooling retards. But yeah. Also, people tried to have John Paul Stevens' house fucking eminent domain, but the National Park Service came in to protect it. Like the cabin he was born in, they tried to have that bulldozed.
Just to prove a point? Yeah.
Well, it's like, why the fuck not? Suffer. Like, you want lawfare, we'll give you lawfare, buddy. If our vision of winning sucks, this is it. It's not winning.
We didn't say it was
what
winning.
else are we gonna do?
Called it a fat L.
Yeah. So Trump sabotaged it or fucked it up. Nope, Trump took a swing. Yeah. He went. It's home run derby, man. Sometimes they don't work, but he was trying to get a home run.
He took a home run swing. I'm just saying that now that this didn't work, now you need to try for a single.
Yeah, or whatever we can get. Let's get the bat on the ball again. Jefferson C. Post says for $2, cope with code COPE at the Dragon's Treasure.
Yeah. If you type in code COPE, it makes it look like what you're buying is cheaper, but it's actually more expensive.
Yes. Chef Clyde 69. He's been a member for 13 months. Oh, he's so cute. He's got his little chef hat. He's such a cute little boy. He's such a cute dog. He says, I hope you know this is equal to over 7 dog years. Yes, it is. He's such a good boy. Since 2023, we've had him.
Oh,
such a good boy.
What a good dog. What a good pup.
Yep. April 10th, 2023. I still have it in my calendar.
Oh.
Tim at Tams for 10 Australian dollary doodles.
Is that what it is? Is that what the A means?
Yes, okay. Australian, yes.
All right.
Yes, Ryan, we got to work on your international audience. We got to work your international audience here. You got to learn all the forms.
I'm bribed in greenbacks,
Yeah. It says, laughing my arse off at someone whose country already abolished birthright citizenship. Take the L. Listen to Kavanaugh and change the law. Also listen to Gorsuch. Yes.
Yeah. Correct. But don't get too smug as an Australian. I remember what happened in COVID down under.
Yeah.
You went to
down under.
Y'all went to camps. So
yes. Yes, they did. Syker Carrig for $10.
Yes.
Says, what was the grain farmer case that found in the agencies? That's Wickard versus Filburn.
Yep.
And then Chevron expanded. Yeah, well, Chevron was a monster on its own. How can we challenge that decision? Well, you're never going to challenge Wickard versus Filburn because that's kind of like Clarence. Like these judges aren't going to let us have machine guns. you are not going to get the dormant commerce clause overturned.
But Justice Thomas, and this is why I was saying I think he's starting to plan for his retirement, is starting to drop these like hyper-based concurrences where he's like leaving his wisdom for future generations to find.
Yeah.
So if you go read U.S. v. Khamenei, which was the pot gun case, his concurrence in that case was an invitation, like I talk about laying breadcrumbs to litigate the Commerce Clause. And he actually, I pulled it up because I saw this comment. He ended it by saying, it's now been 26 years since a party received relief in this court based on a Commerce Clause challenge. Such relief has also been hard to come by in the lower courts. And he finishes and says, Congress's enumerated powers, like Supreme Court opinions setting forth their limits, are, in my view, to be taken seriously. He's inviting people to challenge the Commerce Clause and to cite him when they do it. Now, will it happen soon? I don't know, but Justice Thomas is lighting the way.
And to be fair, the way they taught con law when I was in law school, and I'm sure it's probably similar for you, Ryan, they would always talk about Clarence Thomas as like, oh, crazy Uncle Clarence. Because there's a bunch of times he'd just write in a concurrence saying, he'd write an opinion all the way out on his own, even if he's in the majority, and go, by the way, I think this law is bullshit and should be repealed. And that's basically like, if he would go out and read his concurrence, he'd say, this is all fucking horse shit. And then just like drop the mic and walk out. That he did a bunch of times. So yes, now he's actually like, here's how you burn down the system, kids.
Yeah, he's now that we've seen how many W's we can get if people listen to Uncle Thomas, I think people are going to pay attention.
Uncle Clarence, not Uncle Tom.
Oh, okay, fine.
Don't worry. There are people on the left call him Uncle Tom.
Yeah, I call him Thomas. Right, I've give respect to.
Yes. Jefferson Post for $2 says, losses in North Africa came long before D-Day. Yes, they did. The James for $5.
Yes. Memberships. Look at that.
Yes. Thank you, James, for your support, your generosity. You gotta do it for Clyde. Psycho Carrick for $5. This is actually a good thing here. Steal or straw man this. Birth tourism is visa fraud, but the kids still get citizenship. You are not allowed to profit from the illegal acts, ergo revoke it.
I don't think you couldn't make a law that's contrary to the Constitution, but if right now
that would not pass muster.
Yeah, but you are correct that birth tourism is visa fraud. Yes. And if you don't want to challenge this law directly, but you wanted to like nip the edges indirectly, another thing you could do is it's like, well, the punishment for birth tourism based visa fraud is extraordinarily high. Like we're going to give you 20 years of hard time.
Yeah, 25 years in prison mandatory.
And start like enforcing it. And then see what happens to that industry.
And just at that point, if you're at that point, we're just gonna have to start just prosecuting random women who fucking pop out a baby, who aren't American, and be like, well, we'll see what happens.
Or do it this way: the monetary penalty for this kind of birthright tourism is like $10 million, and it's the company that brought you here is jointly and severally liable. And then start trying to attach assets of all these fucking foreign companies. See if that's funny.
I just think it'd be easier. No, we'll drone strike you.
Well, that is.
We'll send in the because you know what? The government's already killed U.S. citizens and U.S. children, and go whoops a doodle. Talk to the Alawaki family about that.
I don't know. I think all our drones are trying to open the Strait of Hormuz.
Yeah. Okay, guys, he's even rolling with it.
Yeah.
Sam Josh for 199 says nothing ever happens. Well, generally speaking, yes.
Not today, but other days.
Today, but yeah, some things did happen today. Although to be fair, it's the status quo. So, Jefferson Post says, how many Scalia dissents became law in the end?
I don't know, but he was
right in the long run, a lot of things.
Yeah, well, I mean, the big one, I don't know how many this counts as, but the big one
Yeah.
is that he articulated this vision of the unitary executive and the problems with independent prosecutors in Morrison v. Olson. And that's been borne out as Humphrey's executor got overturned, and we've had more and more.
Yeah, Morrison v. Olson was cited in that.
Yeah, so like
case, yeah.
he definitely was kind of like the godfather of modern unitary executive theory. So a lot of his dissents have been borne out in that regard.
Yes. And but that said, though, and I brought this up to people, when it comes to things, it's funny because for a long time, like people like Clarence Thomas, but there's a lot of things I don't like Clarence Thomas for. And a lot of that is when it comes to like civil liberties, when it's kind of like Scalia. If you had a criminal case, if you were a criminal trying to take something in front of the Supreme Court, Antonin Scalia was not likely to be your friend. Antonin Scalia loved the police.
Mm-hmm.
So Clarence Thomas for a long time loved the police as well. So
Scalia was interesting because he loved the police, but he also loved the Fourth Amendment. So like it depends it depends what you were litigating. Like he also loved he didn't like it when the government tried to prosecute you for vague crimes. So there were pockets of his jurisprudence that were anyway, these are complicated people. They have,
but I'm just saying, yes, it's just to be careful. Like, people like to, I'm just saying, and it's also because, in law school, you notice this too, but like Scalia and Ginsburg on a lot of criminal things saw eye to eye more often than not. Yeah. Like there was some really, like you'd read the opinion, you're like, wait, who, like you'd have to sit there and like, wait, who the fuck did what? And you're like, yeah, they got along very well. Like they saw eye to eye on a lot of things, actually. So, but you aren't going to see. It's not like you're going to find like Gorsuch and Ketanji Brown Jackson being like,
yeah,
you got it, girl. Yeah, let's eat lunch together. Less incel. Or is this like less incels? I don't know.
I'm gonna start pronouncing it less incels.
Yeah. You hear that, Gooners? He's coming after you. With the chat that said Trump needed to appoint better judges. Trump, one of the only good things he's done has been appointments. Yeah. Yeah. They have the integrity to go against Trump to do what's right. Yeah. I mean, like, that's the thing. Like, go back. Like, what, Roberts? Roberts is an awful pick.
Well, this is what fucking drives me crazy, right? Like, because look, I get that people are doomers and they're upset. It's the same day, whatever. But they've seen me go out there and be like, debate court packing and be like, you fucking lefties are crazy. You're crazy. We don't need to, like, packing the court is insane. They're not toadies to Trump. They're an independent judiciary that's doing their job. And then when the court rules against them, they're like, we should have toadies. We should have fucking toadies. That way we could prove the left right about everything. And I'm like, whose side are you on? Like you're.
Well, but at the end of the day, fuck them anyway, because there's nothing like, unless they basically said Donald Trump needs to go to prison and gets raped to death, they're not going to pull off court packing. No, like, that's what they want. Otherwise,
the lefties are never going to stop. That's not my point. Yeah. My point is that, like, don't be useful idiots for them.
Yes, I'm betting against the Ketanji Alito ship out there. It's like, oh
yeah, but he's betting against it. But
Samuel Alito, I am, because I don't think Samuel Alito goes up to her and it's like, you are the most beautiful eggplant I've ever seen, Ketanji. Where I grew up, we used to call beautiful women like you woolen yawns.
Can you look? Sean had this locked and loaded. He had the language. He had the lingo.
Yes.
If you guys want to start odds, what are the odds that Sean is writing that fanfic?
Yeah. Purple Cowcat says he just like Plier v. Doe. Yeah, but Plier v. Doe still ended up like, hey, illegal kids get, they're apparently protected. So, and I'm surprised you didn't see Plier v. Doe get mentioned at all by the majority position.
Oh, I didn't look for it, but yeah, that could be.
But you know what I mean? Because Plier v. Doe, we already extend a lot of protections to children of illegals. And that said that kids there, Plier v. Doe, was they weren't allowed in school. And they were denied benefits and things to them. And, Supreme Court said, like, no, you can't do that. And that was like 1986. So Just something to think about. Because like I didn't hear people talking about it, and maybe I'm like I'd like to think, oh, I'm being profound or something, and like I even got you to stop and go, whoa.
Yeah, I
But
was
it's like,
thinking,
but it's like, or that I'm just an idiot. I don't know.
no, I like because no one has been talking about Playa v. Doe recently.
But it's a big thing because we're talking about these kids getting shit out inside the border. But even then, Playa v. Doe would count for kids who were just brought across the border too.
Yeah, I mean, I think that case, when I was reading the briefs, I think that case got brought up, but I didn't see it in the Roberts opinion we were reading.
Well, I didn't hear him bring it up anywhere, but I would have brought it up if I was in there. And Max and Pick, this is actually correct. Most people, we're all hypocrites at the end of the day. Don't let anybody fool you. We all have our hypocrisies. That's something I've learned over this time. So, William Luke Priest for $4.99 says, can we just appreciate that Trump, a 90s Democrat, has given us more conservative victories than any president since Reagan. Well, even since Reagan, because Souter came in during Reagan.
Yep.
Possibly since Calvin Coolidge. Yeah, that's the sad part. That's a sobering thing.
Well, I mean, look, if you just said overturned Chevron deference, overturned Humphrey's executor, overturned Roe v. Wade, that by itself, that's more victories than any right-leaning president has
10 years ago, I told you you're fucking insane.
I mean, that's a crazy string of victories. That's why the left is so angry.
Yeah. Well, you know what I mean, though? Think about it, Ryan. Like when you're sitting in law school, like to say that, you would have gotten laughed at.
Yeah,
these were going to happen.
So I mean, look, and by the way,
like changing the laws of gravity.
And the before him, the left was well on its way to making DEI and equity as bulletproof as those legal principles used to be, right? So these are all things that he reversed.
Yes.
What is going on over there, Sean?
We had a spill on the desk. So, but I have these around so I can like wipe off paintbrushes. So.
Okay.
Yes. Anyways, Jefferson Post says, I'll take imperfect over the rail my ass party. Yeah, but you know what? I'd still like to see better, but we got what we got. And like I said, unless your solution is the ending to Debt of Honor. Do you ever read Tom Clancy?
Yeah.
So Debt of Honor, right? Yeah, unless that's gonna happen, we got to settle for what we got right now.
I was trying to work out, like, the saying, don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good.
Yeah.
It's like, don't let the perfect be the enemy of the rail my ass party, but that didn't quite work. So I was trying to find a way to make it work, but didn't quite get there.
Taylor says, what's functionality, the difference between a sojourner and someone making an illegal residence? I don't really know. I think if you ask them back in the day, they'd say, well, back then they'd say, what the fuck does make somebody illegal?
There was no such thing.
Yeah, but I think also today, though, they would have a better grasp of, Westphalian sovereignty is kind of a very important thing. We don't need heckin' immigrinos like we needed back then.
Yeah, and I think that this is where the domicile concept comes in, because they'd say like the intent to remain is probably the difference. But it's a good question.
Mm-hmm. And it says, hey, your kid isn't a citizen because your green card hasn't expired yet. Well, if you have a green card and your kid's born here, you're a U.S. citizen. So that was never a question.
And again, the green card shows that you have an intent to remain.
Yeah, and it's considered long-term residence.
You're not a sojourner.
I mean, with a green card, you can buy guns.
Yeah, but you can be a sojourner for like a fairly long period of time. Like, I mean, imagine back then when people were traveling by like sailboat. You could
just be riding around on a freaking horseback.
Yeah,
I'm just hanging out. I'm drifting. But yeah, no, it's very Big Purple Dove says, you all still want to play fair with people who hate the country and would destroy everything about it. Well, I don't want to. I want to win. I'm not to the point of I want to start shoving out of helicopters yet. Do I think that's a based idea? Yes. Do I realize that's not a good idea right now? Sure. Doesn't mean deep down in my heart, I wouldn't be like, oh my God, that's cool. But I also know now's not the time. It's not the time yet.
I mean, people want to like.
Ryan doesn't have to co-sign that one.
It's just in a world where the right has the president, the Senate, and the House and the court, and they're like, "Oh, there's nothing we can do." It's like, there's plenty we can fucking do. There's plenty we can do.
Yes. And Psycher Carrick, again for $5, says, that's mealy mouth. Those here illegally should also be considered to be here temporarily. They have no right to stay. I agree. Don't disagree with you. But I don't think you're going to, I don't even think you get Gorsuch to agree to that.
As a matter of policy, I think that that's often right. But yeah.
But I think Gorsuch would say they're domiciled.
Well, and if you look at Gorsuch's language carefully, the way I read it, I think he's inviting a challenge on the temporary side, not the legal side. And the reason is what Sean said a moment ago, which is as a matter of like originalist interpretation, illegal immigration didn't exist when the 14th Amendment was drafted. So the illegal argument is just harder because there's the historic evidence is not going to be the same, but because it literally didn't exist.
And I think at some point there's going to be an argument that Gorsuch would accept. If he knew what it would be, he would have told us. But he's just saying right now, like, this is as far as I can go.
Yeah.
I know it doesn't help, but he's at least telling you I'm intellectually willing to go to this point. But if you could convince him otherwise, he'll I think he wants you to give him something. This is his call onto the ether saying, give me a reason, please.
He was giving you a target to aim at, and I think that like
aim.
Look, as a lawyer who, when a judge tells you this is the thing, this is the target you should aim at, you just hit the bullseye. You don't try to get cute at that point. You're like, oh, the judge wants this, okay, right? Like,
Oh yeah. And then Mega Max for 20.
Max. Look at that avatar. What a sinister avatar.
For the spy. I love that from TF2. Trump needs to do the EO over again with enough different language to be an answer a critique or two. Then Trump needs to tell ACB to stop having a woman moment and John to stop being a woman. Get it right this time. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, you gotta find something that will peel one of those two off and appeal to Gorsuch and Kavanaugh, right? But yeah, that's the name of the game. Now,
yes,
how to
the lab again?
How to do that in the best way possible? Yes. I don't think we have like an answer right now, but I think really smart people are thinking about it.
Yeah, we don't and that's the thing. That's the thing. These guys are just telling us, come up with a plan. Come up with a plan. So, Night Fighter for $5. Even with the Ohio State, I'll still read the super chat. I have my rules. Even for $5 says even on civil law, things shall not infringe does not mean what it clearly means. The Second Amendment has limits somehow. I don't know how it can. I could literally buy a battleship that could level cities. I could engage in piracy on behalf of the state. I interdict foreign commerce and conduct warfare on the open seas. I don't know how much more unlimited in scope that is, or you could see that now. So,
are you in the market for a battleship?
I mean, if there was one for the right price.
I guess, when you phrase it that way, I think we're all in the market for a battleship at the right price.
I mean, if you're telling me I could have like a yacht that could take on the combined navies of Western Europe, hell yeah. I mean, if you tell me I could only have like a PT boat with a couple of torpedoes on it, like that would be fine. Like whatever we got to do, we got to do.
When England tried to send its navy over to Iran, we found out that they actually don't really have a navy anymore. So
people knew that already. They've been scrapping everything. Half their submarines are sitting at port.
Yeah,
most of their surface fleet's rusting away. They've scrapped half of it. They just now got fighter planes for their carriers.
Ooh.
Oh yeah.
My point was a yacht that could take on the European Navy would just be a yacht.
Oh. You're a funny guy. Chad, he hates the Europeans. Also, real quick, I know you guys, even though I'm going to say this when it comes to Donald Trump.
God bless you, Donald Trump. Keep the simplified fags out of our government.
Where do you get these clips from?
This is from the LA City Council meeting. And the LA City Council meetings, they have to let people talk. And you could say the N-word, but like you're not allowed to say it. You can't say the word nigger, you can't say the word cunt. And they limit you, but otherwise they have to let you speak. And there's a couple crazy people there. And one of them is a guy who's an attorney who's actually sued the shit out of them and like gotten a lot for them. But like this guy's my clip for this, the lawyer guy.
Guess who got indicted? Ha 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 ha.
That's but like there is a channel out there called Smoke It Can. He's a guy in LA. And the LA City Council meets like Fridays at noon. So it's like 3:00 Eastern. And these guys are allowed to talk and they make the most of their minute or two they get every time. They're fucking hilarious. They're hilarious.
I went to a town meeting in my little local town recently. It wasn't quite that spicy, but they're fun. They get
Yes.
they get a little wild.
Yes. Well, yes, that's Mr. Spindler. Yes. Yes, these people, like, they do all kinds of crazy shit. Yeah, Flash, it is a city council, but it's hilarious how these guys act to them. And I think they're so fucking funny. There's a couple of them I've heard where the one guy who's the talks about God bless Trump, he said something like, he starts speaking in Spanish and he says like, hola, Maria con abrigados. And he says translation. And some guy he's like, there's a guy sitting there who has to translate. He's like, hello, faggot lawyers. And I got to find it because I want to use that. Like, but he also says like all kinds of other things. He makes it and you can hear the guy go, blah, blah, blah. Like he has to read it out. It's so damn funny.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's like a super chat. He has to read it. Walter Malone says off topic, but do you guys think Alito faked his retirement to find the leak? No. That person who leaked out Dobbs is gone already.
Yeah.
Making a couple hundred thou.
I think it was just a reporter.
Also, if it's one of the justices, it's like, what are you going to do? I mean, do you think it was one of the justices or do you think it was one of their interns or clerks?
I think it's like, you know, I don't think it's like one of the justices, but what I would bet is it would be an intern or a clerk, but it's kind of like, you know, when your boss doesn't tell you to do something, but you know they want you to. They're like, you know, your boss is walking around being like, man, it would be a shame if the Times got a hold of this.
Yeah.
Right. And then, but they never told you to do it. They just, that'd be a shame.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There you go. Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. Yes, I could. And then Psycher Carrig. Well, I was going to say Walter Muller for $10. Psycher Carrig for $2 says, no senator was getting elected in 1840, Sean.
True.
Well, if your state legislator was electing him, that was the election.
Yeah.
Just not elected by you. Blasterbot. It's been a member for 4 months. Says, man,
thanks,
first Amy Comey Bear can't define the utterance of the day. Now this sucks simple ass. I mean, it does suck.
It's a shame. All Blasterbot wants, Sean, is to be left alone so he can eat grilled meat, drink bourbon, and read about dinosaurs in peace. And politics keeps disrupting him. And it's a shame because don't we all want to live that way? Deep down?
we all want to eat grilled meat and read about the dinosaur with 800 teeth.
Yeah, this is the American dream.
Did you learn about that? What dinosaur that is?
Well, I can tell you, Blasterbot could tell you exactly who that fucking dinosaur is.
Yes, but you should make sure you learn about that dinosaur.
Yeah, but don't, Sean, don't ask about Dinosaur Gate. Apparently, my friend Rob Knorr has been engaged in shenanigans of the highest scale, and there was a betting scandal on his channel involving dinosaur battles. So,
oh no,
yeah.
Good.
He might need a good lawyer.
Yeah. Oh, it's funny because I didn't realize it at the time, but when I lived in Ohio, I was like an hour away from Rob. I didn't get a chance to call him up. I'm like, let's go break bread.
Yeah, you guys could
have a Congress. Yeah.
Let's go talk about your favorite lefties.
Yeah. Corey Harris is a new member. I think for you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Corey Harris. Appreciate the new members always.
Yes. Jefferson Post says never be eager for the black pill suppository.
Oh.
You're going to have to take, you don't have to be eager for it, but you're going to have to take it. Night Fighter 82 has been a member for 5 months. Just keep up the fun, boys. Well, thank you.
We do what we can.
Or keep up the fun, boys. Ooh, I don't know. Yeah, because if they're fun boys, you have to keep them up. I'm sure they like being up. I don't know. Just the way lack of punctuation leaves me concerned. Malcolm Combs says, I hope the stream is going well. I am plastered. Well, there we go.
Well, then in that case, it went great. You really enjoyed it. You donated. It was
best
wonderful.
stream ever. Yes.
Best stream you've ever seen.
Yes. January 6th, 2.0 says, "Fuck you, Sean. Why do you always have to be right?"
Well, he's only 3/5 right.
Yeah. Wow. You are, you're like that Kurt Russell meme of like you're the smiling kid and then later on you're Snake Plissken. Like less than a year on YouTube and really dealing with stuff, and you're just like,
I do what I can.
I'm proud of you. You are right there along with him. Mr. Ubercross for $20 says, "I believe his argument is we start at the common law to understand the language. We look at contemporaneous views at the time of the writing, which apparently were buried, and nothing contradicts. The common law definitely applies." Yeah, but once again, there was all kinds of things that contradicted. So,
yeah,
yeah.
And I don't feel like he adequate. Well, the way Roberts wrote was very high level, but I still don't feel like he adequately dealt with this subject versus citizen distinction, which troubles me. The idea that, yes, there was this common law tradition in England, but also it was incompatible with the vision of American citizenship. So it's hard for me to square that circle. But I will admit my bias in this area because I went deep down this rabbit hole. But Ubercross, I do think you said it correctly. That is what he was going for.
Yeah, I think so. And that's just, yeah. But you know what? That's what you use. You got to make the arguments you make. Cavel, 54 for $5 says, "Sean, stop lying. You secretly like Barrett's and Roberts' decisions. You found me out.
He sure likes some of them.
It's like Inglourious Bastards. I have the 3 best decisions they like."
Look, Cavo, you like some of their decisions too. They were on the right side of a whole bunch of their decisions.
No, I know, but it's like Inglourious Bastards. Like I did 3. I did 3 instead of 3.
Got it.
You figured me out, Chad. I gave it away. Then user says, "Does Olive Garden set immigration policy now? When you're here, your family." Pretty much.
And when you apply for asylum, you get some free breadsticks.
Yeah, you get a lot of free breadsticks. Objective Gestalt for $5 says, "Sounds like trying to apply law from the age of the monarchs to a 21st century republic is a major factor behind the thorniness of this whole subject."
It is, but as an originalist, I'm kind of committed to doing it.
Yeah. It's never easy, but it's, the law covers basic concepts, and the basic concepts remain basic. SB Seller says, "That's why these guys all wave American flags at all their protests." Yeah, I know. Jefferson Post says for $2, "Citizenship for birthing such a succulent Chinese baby." Yes.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Jefferson has a way with words. He can be very evocative within the character limit.
Yes. Night Fighter 82 says, "I'm always here for Sean's crash outs. Lamau. They make me laugh my ass off." Well, that we got what you do here. Well, I'm glad to help.
Giving the people what they want.
And learn things, yes. Psycher Carrick again. $5.
Look at this. Insane.
Yes. Just all kinds of support out there.
Mm-hmm.
It says foreign-born citizens supporting like DSP's diapers. Foreign-born citizens as an invasion vector doesn't matter because it's not like we could round up all of said civilians proactively to prevent mischief. Well, not because we're not, for a lack of trying. We could do a lot.
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to, there'd be a little creative lawyering required, but you could do a lot. Forwards, yeah.
Yes. And then K-Bell again for $10. Thank you for supporting natural law with RyanCMullally.
Thank you, K-Bell. Appreciate you, buddy.
If I'm remembering correctly, when they were arguing the 14th Amendment, didn't one of the senators argue they didn't want gypsies getting citizenship?
Yeah.
Based.
Which is what Roberts actually quoted him, but then he edited he didn't edit the quote. He framed the quote in such a way as to make it helpful for his side when I think it's better understood as helping the other side.
Or the Chinese at that time. Yes, and remember, Wong Kim Ark occurred in the middle of the Chinese Exclusion Act, which is on the books until almost World War II. But apparently that's different. That's different. That's different. And guys, remember, when I say, like, when people make arguments, you're like, well, that's different. Courts do that all the time. You know what they do? They say it's distinguished.
Yes, we have distinguished it.
It's different. Why? Because I fucking said so. And you'll ask why, Your Honor, and you're like, yes, okay. Why, Your Honor? Okay, thank you, Your Honor. Economath. Yes. Says, what SCOTUS missed from Coke? An alien's local elite required obedience to the sovereign being in the realm against the king's will violates obedience. Well, that too. You couldn't just wander around back then. Like, you could get hanged for that.
Yeah, you were
literally
woods.
Tied to the land. And if you escaped and you were a serf running loose on the land, well, not a good thing. Not a good thing.
Well, and this is what I was saying before. It's like the concept of subjecthood from British common law is antithetical to American citizenship. There's a lot about the common law we didn't take over. So why do we assume we took over all this part?
Very true. Very true. Why? Oh, because we're not doing it is what they're going to say. Stabby McStabwood has been a member for 37 months. Good to see you tonight, man. It says, the SCOTUS is going to screw up the firearms bans. Yes, but hey, you guys got cert out of your Illinois case. Yeah. I don't know, man. We'll see what happens.
Is that a trolley in his image?
Yes, it's Mr. Rogers.
Ah, is that guns behind him?
No, I think it's just Mr. Rogers' drapes.
Okay. Trying to figure out how subversive that image is.
No, it's not that subversive. Jefferson Post says, my bad, the Mandela effect on Roberts and Kilo. Yeah, that's understandable. It's understandable. Tim Tam says, I would donate in US dollars, but I can't.
Yeah,
because
and
you're
you
an
can't,
Australian.
and you can't make your toilet flush the right way either.
Yes.
There's some things you just can't do.
Yes. Luke Priest says, people don't call you Learned Hand because your mama called you RyanCMullally.
Okay, but that's unfair. Could you imagine?
Fair point.
Could you imagine calling your own son Learned Hand? Like, I've got 2 kids.
Yeah.
If I named them like Wise Empress, then I'd have to call them Wise Empress. Like, Wise Empress, go to bed. They'd be like, fuck you, I'm Wise.
Well, you'd also have to be sitting there thinking like, oh my God, this kid better not turn out to be really fucking retarded or it's going to be very embarrassing.
Yeah.
For her.
And if you call them Wise Empress, the odds are like pretty good. They are. So anyway, the whole thing.
You have to hope so. Like, if you give your kid a super solid name, like, you're like, okay, I'm making you destined for greatness. But it's like, if they don't, you're like, oh, it's going to be a little awkward when you're like, Thurston Howell III and you're like working at a fucking like Shake Shack.
Yeah.
And then J-Rock says, Roger Taney, we need more of him.
Oh.
Roger Taney was the Chief Justice during Lincoln.
And the author of Dred Scott.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's let's call that a hot take from J-Rock Law.
Yes. Yes. Laser says, Wick said we would rather destroy the country and have brown people in it. Why is it always race with them?
Because...
I'm not worried about race. I'm worried about loyalty to this fucking country.
Yeah, and because, like, ultimately... Wick
can't say, I want to see the United States get dashed and smashed apart. It's got to be about Leheckin Immigrinos.
Well, and he's very, very bought into this narrative that the right is just bad and evil, and then this is how he can justify that.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
Oh, well, there you go. Taylor TC says, for $5, I should have put tourist visa. Sorry your kid isn't a citizen. Your visa hasn't expired yet.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I mean, like, I could see that. Yeah. You could try to figure out a way to word it that would work, but we'll see. Matt says, so what I'm hearing is we're not allowed to do it because the Constitution didn't contemplate helicopters. So now we should consider things.
Well, you look at that. You made Sean disappear. Your helicopter made Sean disappear. I hope you're happy. Look at Sean. He's gone. Look what you did to him.
Well, the other problem with helicopters, you have to remember, chat, they are rough on the hours on the airframe. So, like, what happens when we run out of airframes for the helicopters? Like, if they run out of hours, what's plan B? You know, I'm just saying, you guys gotta have plan B set. So,
hey, Jefferson C. Post sent me a video, but I don't know if it's a video I want to play on stream. So Jefferson, you sent me the video, is that good context for your succulent Chinese baby comment, or is this not stream? It's
the Australian guy that it's based off of, I bet.
Oh,
if you open it and see it, you know what I'm talking. You know that
this meme? It's Democracy Manifest. That guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
He just died recently too.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Sean, how do you have this deep well of knowledge of all these weird internet memes?
So I'm a little. I think I'm a little younger than you, but I was a latchkey kid raised on internet porn, man. I'm a child of the internet. I know all, as my best friend told me, you know, when we were in college, like, if I had only room for all the shit I know that I need to know, I'd be absolutely fucking unstoppable. But there's so much, there's like a lot of important shit kicking around in my skull. There's also a big partition just full of just dumb and autistic stuff rooting around in there too.
Every time I arrive at a new and a horrifying corner of the internet, there's Sean like, would you like a tour? I've been here many times.
Yeah, you see these scars? Yes. Yeah, I'll take you through the A. Shaw Valley. I was back here in 66. Oh yeah, I'll show you the ropes. VTubing enthusiast for $5 says, what was the Supreme Court case and ruling that Obama disagreed with during the State of the Union? And Alito rolled his eyes. It caused a big controversy.
I'm pretty sure that was Citizens United. I think that was because Obama was talking trash about Citizens United, if I recall correctly. Correctly decided, by the way.
Yes. And then OSINT Commando for $10 says, when will Ryan? You got to say, come.
Oh, man. I was going to say, did you pronounce it right? Yeah, you got to lean into it.
Yes. When will Ryan be promoting the helicopter tours in Brazil for these communists? Oh, I saw the picture of the guy who died, the tree guy or whatever his name is, and it's like, God, with a fucking haircut like that, homie, you were tempted fate. It's like, you know, like when he died and up there, God, it's like Paul Walker when he died. It's like, God, why did I have to die? Paul, you know, we saw you were going to do Fast and Furious 10, and that's too many.
Yeah,
we got to stop you. And this guy died. He's like, God, why'd I die? It's like, bro, we tried to warn you. You can't have hair like that.
It was too fast and too furious. Yeah.
It is at some point we had to step in. Shinobubu says, oh, yes, if the judge is telling you something, you go, woo, woo, Your Honor.
Dear God.
Counsel, are those cat ears on your head?
By the way, you've seen that clip, right?
Yes, I'm not a cat. Yeah,
the lawyer with the cat filter. Oh, that's my
the judge who had that case is on Twitter.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, and every year he's like, it's the anniversary of Cat Day, and apparently, like the attorney, it was a very funny thing, and he knows that attorney very well. So I think the guy's still practicing live too. Stephen Cooper's been a member for 30 months. Thank you for being here, Stephen. Says we just used the Bruin test for immigration. Well, you wouldn't want to, because there was very little rules on immigration in 1787. You just got off the fucking boat, so you wouldn't want that if you're wanting immigration controls.
This is the problem. There was no such thing as illegal immigration back then, so be careful what you wish for.
But also, if they didn't like you, they just fucking lynched you too. If things weren't going their way,
you could get tarred and feathered, and you could get exiled from the state.
Yes, like all those things could happen. So yes, problems of the day require solutions of the day. J-Rock for 20 subs.
Look at that.
Let's fucking go tonight, chat.
Splash in the pot.
Let's go.
Look at that.
Yes.
The whole chat just turned green.
Yeah. Oh, hold on here. What do we got? Well, this is actually good for tonight. Because we are probably mining our own salt tonight.
Down here, salt is a way of life.
Obviously, the environment down here is all salt. The ceiling's salt, the floor is salt, the walls are salt. and to an extent, the air is salt.
Pretty much. Very salty tonight here, Chad. Very salty tonight on these two channels. Walter Malone's for $5 says, "Could theoretically the Queen of England give birth on U.S. land? When that child grows up, can he be King of England and the U.S. president?" I mean, no, because you have to surrender all titles to be U.S. president. But could that would be the thing? I would think you'd have to.
The Queen will give birth on U.S. land, and when that child grows up, he can be King of England and U.S. president. I mean, this is the thing. Like, remember that they to
be fair though, Winston Churchill was a U.S. a U.S. citizen who became prime minister.
Yeah, so I think that this would fall under that exception that they had about like if you have sufficient ties to the government. Like I think the Queen probably has sufficient ties to England that she falls into one of the many exceptions.
Yes. So let's see here. EDW Raptor says Plan B, put them all on ships and sink them. I mean, we do. The Navy does need to test its weapons from time to time, and like just shooting at a hollow ship doesn't tell you a whole lot. So, I mean, that's not a bad idea. Not a bad idea. If you're really loyal to America, you'll help the American military learn things.
Sean, are you loyal to America?
Yes, I'll be loyal to America by helping train the missile launcher on a target.
I see.
Yes. Somebody has to go over there and tell me how it lands. Economat says, class staff of an alien violating local allegiance is a hostile occupying force. The same type KBJ flubbed about being subject to Japan's criminal law.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, like a hostile occupying force this is the thing. Like the rule that the majority applies has all these exceptions. Whereas, like the rule that I would apply has almost no exceptions. It's like, well, are you a hostile occupying force is obviously not loyal to this country and therefore done. But yeah, the KBJ wallet in Japan example was very fun.
Oh yeah, it was awful. But once again, I mean, as she says,
it just don't make no sense.
It don't, chat. It don't make no sense. BobTube for $5 Australian dollar doodles says, "Me and the missus are headed to Guam in 9 months to pick up a U.S. passport. Thanks."
Well, enjoy that. Enjoy your U.S. passport.
Yeah, enjoy your flight to the Marianas. Enjoy your flight to Guam. Man, that's everything.
Look at that, Sean. We did it.
Yes.
And you managed not to fucking cough and die. I thought we were going to lose you for a second there. See? That's what I'm talking about.
P-Dub saying at Rimpack this year. Ooh, they're sinking one of the Ticos? Wow. They're sinking a Ticonderoga cruiser and a Tarawa class landing ship. Wow. These are neat because that's like they do the sinking exercises and they just fucking light them up. Like they shoot like one of everything at it and they specifically target it to figure out how things work.
Oh, that is cool.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty neat. It's pretty neat. And it's neat to see because we're now past the point of shooting up just like Cold War ships. We're now shooting ships that have been like retired in the past 20 years. So it's kind of interesting. We were both wearing pants tonight. I mean, use your listen to your heart. It'll tell you these.
Yeah, like we're not going to give away our secrets. Yes. There's secrets.
Yes. Can a judge still exile people from a state? No. Judges couldn't do it back when they were doing it, but nobody was going to challenge it. And I don't think you've been on when I mentioned this. There was a judge in a county I used to practice in where it was a one-judge county, and he used to, as a common term of probation, was like, stay the fuck out of my county unless you're showing up to your PO. And that was one of the terms of probation was you're not allowed here.
Get out.
Yeah, no, he would do that, and he was like 100% about that.
That's very funny.
Although it was a county of sub 50,000 people, so you could do a lot. And
yeah.
Who's gonna, he'd be like, who's gonna fucking appeal me?
Yeah, to where are you going, buddy?
Yeah, well, it's also like he was judging like the 80s, so it's like, I dare you to appeal. Like, imagine trying to appeal something like that in the 80s to a court somewhere.
I am the law. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I am law. Excited utterance, hella. How you doing? Speaking of Australians, are Sean and Ryan dating?
Well, wouldn't you like to know?
I mean, do you have a problem with that?
Bigot.
Yeah, might. Yes, there are counties in Metro Atlanta that still do banishment. Yes, that is interesting because the YSL trial for Young Thug, he was banned from the greater metropolitan Atlanta area as a part of his probation. The judge did to him, and it's interesting because the greater metropolitan Atlanta area is like the northern quarter of the state of Georgia, basically. It's a massive thing. Like all the counties that make up the confines of it. There was like so many fucking places. It was
a lot of
very,
places
very
to be
interesting.
banned from.
Yeah, but it's like it's in the South. You can do all kinds of shit in the South. But also basically the guy was put on probation, got out of jail, and was escaping multiple years in prison. So I don't know if he's going to appeal that.
Yeah, well,
because the court can say no, you can't do that, and it goes back. Judge like, all right, well, you're going to fucking prison. It's like,
well, watch out, gang. Sean's gonna have to get banned from the Panhandle. It's good.
Yeah, that's. Yeah, well, yeah,
coming soon.
Yes. So, yeah, Cobb County, Gwinnett County, and Fulton County. Hold on, Cobb County, Gwinnett County, Fulton County, and Clayton County. The Triangle of Death, but there's like 4 sides to it. There's 4 sides, J-Rock. There's 4 counties. Is it the parallelogram of death or the trapezoid? Or is it the rhombus of death? I realize 4 points don't make a triangle. Well, that's Southern for you, I guess. So, all right, Ryan. But yeah, no, we're going to have to take the L and move on from here, guys.
We took the L, but we fought back this stream in our little way.
And we co-conceived.
On my side, if I didn't fucking fat finger boomer it, you are going to be redirected to friend of the stream, Rob Knorr, who's still going strong when I cut out. And if it doesn't work, then you're on your own. You can figure out your own entertainment this evening.
Yeah. See, Rob said, "I tried to help you. If not, fuck you." You hear it? You hear that, chat? Rob just told you to, or Ryan just told you to go fuck yourselves.
That's what I said. For sure.
I won't do that, chat. I will make sure I send you to Rob, friend of this show, friend of the channel, hopefully friend of yours, chat.
Yeah.
Also, chat, you guys were wondering. I know some of you are like, "Do I need a PO box?" We got a PO box. It's down below. You can find it down there, and go from there and find it out. Wait, where is it at? Hold on here. No.
Sean, I got to cut out because I got work tomorrow. But I appreciate you, buddy.
Sure.
And appreciate you, chat. I'll see you next time. Have a good night.
All right, guys. Take care, and thank you, Ryan. We'll see you around. Oh, there you go. Why did I share that screen? Anyways, all right. Hella says, "I heard you got a cost. Did you use your self-defense skills?" No, did not at all. Katie says, "Boomer that." Yeah. Yes, here's a new P.O. box. P.O. Box 84, 220 North Beach Street in Daytona Beach, Florida. 32114. And it's not on the beach. They call it Beach Street, but it's like the Halifax River. And it's part of, like, there's no beach. Like, the Daytona Beach is up over the river onto the strip, which is actually like Daytona Beach shores. And then there's the beach. So, yeah. But anyways, thank you, Hella, for $14.99. No, we did not do anything fun. Erica says, "How did I not know that?" I'm sorry. I kind of forgot to say something. So, Daytona. Yes, I know. It's another win for the toe. What happened? A gentleman of Latin persuasion pointed a gun at us because apparently he got mad. They're called barrier islands, you carpetbagger. It's part of the Intercoastal Waterway. So, Daytona, where the racetrack is. Yes. Yes, it is. Yep. I encountered a brownie. Yes. All right, chat. With that said, I will see you guys tomorrow. I'm not sure what we're going to get into tomorrow, but oof. Cope and Sneed, chat. Cope and Sneed. We will win. We are going to make it. We are going to make it. We are going to make it. By God, we will have our home again, chat. By blood and sweat, we'll get there yet. So, good night, chat, and I will talk to you later. But remember, until next time, just because you did it does not mean you're guilty. Remember, no boops. You're too far away now. I can't reach. I'm too fat to reach. Yeah, I can't boop. So, good night, chat, and take care. That's why you're scared to come to the U.S.? Oh, come on. You'd be all right. You'd be all right. Anyways, good night, chat. Take care.
Weapons, blacksmithing, and models of planes, esoteric works, and even some trains. Much merriment had while drinking White Claws, tips on hunting, and even talking the law. Whatever you do, just don't talk to cops, even when they nab you on illegal stops, just cause you did it.
Economath, we read this one because we were talking about the whole wallet thing. But yeah, no, we addressed this, unless there's another one I missed. Did we catch them all? I thought we got everything. Pooping out babies in the United States, yes. So, that was my third and final. Okay. I just making sure you didn't send another one. Just making sure you didn't send another one. Sorry. I could finally trailer my bike to bike week, my hug to bike week like everyone else. Okay, people who do that are they're not real bikers. You got to ride your shit into town. Don't trailer it in. You only hit the first two. The three together make an argument. No, we read this one. We read that one. So, we're going to make an argument. No, we don't disagree with you at all. So, but yeah, no, I'm sorry to make you feel like we didn't touch on it. So, my bad. Anyways, good night, chat.
It doesn't mean you're guilty, but please talk to a local attorney. Was that the fat guy Rick hated yelled at? Why, yes, it was. He even knows he's fat. For all this fun and more, there's one place to go. Here on Sean Martin's Potentially Criminal Show.
That's okay. He didn't do it. He didn't super chat me.